Hello everyone, welcome back to Time Capsule here on the Games Done Quick Twitch channel, the show where we travel back in time to your favorite years in gaming and speedrun our way through popular or influential games during the time of their release. I am your host, Smooth Operative. Thank you so much for joining us. You may be wondering what year we'll crank the time machine back to tonight. Well, we had so much fun in the year 2009 the first time around. We are traveling back to the year 2009 for a second time with speedruns of the cult classic Plants vs. Zombies and later the beloved BioWare masterpiece Dragon Age Origins. But as always, before we get to the games, let me get to some announcements. The main event of the summer, SGDQ 2020 Online, begins August 16th. For more information, go to gamesdonequick.com/schedule to take a look at what we have planned for the marathon. And of course, if you are interested in appearing on this show or other Hotfix shows, you can head to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix to submit games or ideas. Now then, I can hear the menu music dancing around in my head. I am very excited for our first run tonight, Plants vs. Zombies. I have Warmac here ready to show off all mini games. Welcome to the show, Warmac. Please introduce yourself and your commentators.
Hey, thanks so much, Smooth Operative, and hey, GDQ chat and everybody. My name is Warmac Gaming, or just Warmac for short. Alongside me is A Super and Alxame, or just Super and May for short. Very, very excited to be here with y'all today to show you some mini games. And again, Smooth said it very well, a cult classic here that actually has a tremendous speed game behind it and so many cool mechanics that I can't wait to share with you guys. But yeah, Smooth and May, if you guys want to say hello to Games Done Quick chat as I kind of buy the rake here and get things going, that'd be just great.
All right, Super, do you want to go first?
Sure. I'm Super. I've been running this game for about 3 years now. I started off with running the much shorter and very intense all puzzles category, but very recently I've been getting a lot more into any percent. And I've also been running this one, mini games, pretty actively as well. And I'm excited to be commentating here, and good luck, Warmac. You're gonna need it.
Yes, good luck. I'm Alxame or May. I've been running this category for a lot shorter, about 3 or 4 months, but this is my main category. I only run this in Plants vs. Zombies, so I have a little over 500 attempts with like 25 completed runs. So it's definitely a fun game to kind of jump into, and this category is very fun to jump into and watch. So let's, I guess, jump into it with Slot Machine.
All right. Very good. So we'll have the countdown begin here. It begins either when you click into the minigame or when you click this little new game button if you have this, if you're playing on the Steam version. So timing will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, and we're off with not something. If you're too into gambling, you could definitely see the appeal of this game. This particular level that we have right here, that this being Slot Machine. The reason that we start with Slot Machine in the minigames category rather than starting with Zombotany, which is sort of the first one that the game encourages you to play, is because of the RNG factor. As you might imagine, in a slot game, the objective of this is to get 2,000 sun as quickly as possible, and the game will give you either nothing or it'll give you some defensive plants, as I've gotten quite a few of here to begin with, or sun-producing plants, or even a sun bonus. And so, before we get too much into the specifics of this level, I was hoping, Super and May, you could share a question that I know that we get in our Twitch chat all the time, and that is, like, how the heck do you even speedrun Plants vs. Zombies? You know, isn't this just an auto scroller? Like what's the strategy behind it?
Well, there are definitely quite a few mechanics in this game that let us speedrun it. And one of the core mechanics that doesn't actually really come into play with Slot Machine, but will be very, very useful to us later on, is something we like to call the 50% rule. And anyone who's watched any Plants vs. Zombies speedrun stream will have heard that little phrase quite a few times. It gets brought up very, very often because it's just so vital. And so on most normal levels, basically, you're trying to defeat a certain number of waves of zombies, and rather than it being an auto scroller where it sends these zombies at specific times, they will spawn faster if you deal damage equivalent to about 50% of that specific wave's HP. And you can actually see it happening right now. That Conehead is taking about half its damage, so the next wave of zombies, Conehead and regular zombies, spawn. So for Slot Machine, that doesn't really come into play too much. Instead, we're just trying to get this 2,000 sun going, and it looks like we're off to a slightly slow start with that, with only one sunflower and virtually no sun, but we will definitely see it being used in a little bit.
Yep, Super's being generous when he says a slightly slow start. I think what he means is horrible, god-awful, or any synonym that you can possibly come up with. Again, if we were playing this, kind of going for a PB or world record or something like that, we'd probably be resetting at this point. Basically, a good time would be about 5 minutes to complete this level. The average time being about 7 minutes. We actually had someone sort of create a program to sort of brute force test it, which was extremely cool. But again, we're hoping to be on the right side of 7 minutes and not the wrong side. But at some point, the level will end. We realize that after about 13 to 15 minutes or so, the zombies just become so overwhelming that it's more or less impossible to keep up with things and you're basically either going to take a death or the game's going to be over at that point. So certainly we're not hoping for a death here, but we have given ourselves a little bit of extra time in our estimate today to sort of account for, again, this is the most luck intense level. Again, very, very little skill here, other than you can see I'm sort of trying to spin as quickly as I possibly can, without much time delay. And once I get enough sunflowers to the point that there is actually a mathematical formula that we derived where it is the optimal time to stop spinning. And we're not too close to that yet, unfortunately, but that point is equal to where you have 1900 sun minus 100 times the number of sunflowers that you have. So for example, if I had 1400 sun right now, 1900 minus 5 sunflowers times 100. I know it's a little bit hard to describe verbally, but there is a point where it's worth it for you to stop spinning, where on average you're going to lose more sun than you get. And so, again, with a little bit of testing and brute forcing that we've done, we did manage to find out that optimum point to stop spinning for speedrun purposes.
All right, well, it looks like we've sort of picked up a little bit. 6 sunflowers is better than the 1 or so that we had before, but it would be nice if we got a few more drops. And I think someone in chat said, "What's happening to the bottom zombie?" We since the entire goal here is just to nice diamond. The entire goal here is to just beat the level by getting the sun as fast as possible. We don't need to care about money in this category at all. We're basically just free to use mowers how we like. And so Wormit didn't really have to care about that too much.
What I did actually was deliberately let him go on the 4th wave. And the reason for that was that, again, Super had briefly mentioned the 50% rule. And that's basically that the zombies only appear if you've done up to 50% of the current wave's hit points, or if you wait, it's a random number between 25 and 31 seconds. And so my goal here, believe it or not, is actually to make the zombies spawn as I get a jackpot on the sun. This is very, very, very nice for me. And
huge.
Very good.
We'll almost certainly guarantee at least not a miserable time in conjunction with the sunflowers that we have there. But basically, the goal is to have the zombies appear as slowly as possible, because the more advanced waves are more likely to make their way to the very end and potentially eat my sunflowers. So there's sometimes that we actually deliberately try to kill waves slowly on Slot Machine, just so that we don't get sort of these big, more overwhelming waves like you can see on screen right here.
Very well put. Very well put. All right, this is picking up. It looks like we're kind of approaching that stage where we're going to stop spinning, I believe, very, very soon here.
Yeah, I think you could technically stop spinning now, actually.
Yeah, it looks like I think different runners do slightly different things. I usually like to just do 2,000 minus 100 times the number of sunflowers, keep it relatively simple.
Yeah, that's a little simpler for sure.
We're going to it looks like we're going to finish at around 7.5 minutes, I want to say, which is not bad for a no reset run, actually. Again, the average is a little bit lower than that. And we definitely like a lower time if we're doing actual attempts. But considering what can happen here, this is going to be, I think, perfectly fine.
Yep. We actually went through and calculated the probability, the approximate probability of every single type of spin that you can get. And the basic rule of thumb is that the probability of getting one of any particular plant is about 1 in 10. So in other words, a 1 in 10 chance that you get a single pea shooter, 1 in 10 chance you get a sunflower, a snow pea, a walnut, anything like that. And then it's about a 1 in 100 chance that you get the jackpot, meaning that you get a 3 of a kind. And we actually found out that because of that, we know with mathematical certainty that the game cheats, that the game basically has rigged the slots against you a little bit.
Hell yeah.
Because you would normally expect matches and 3 of a kinds to be a little bit more common than that, given the relatively few number of items that are on the slot machine. So, very, very interesting. Next level that we're moving on to is Raining Seeds. And hopefully in this level, you'll get an even better example of exactly how the 50% rule works. And you'll also get a great demonstration of a few more of the different types of plants that we have and sort of some of the effects that they can have on the speed run.
I really like this start, actually. Very nice.
I really do too. So Raining Seeds, it basically drops a random plant for you at certain fixed intervals. And so the best that you can do is hope that you get the good plants and hope that the game doesn't give you too many of the bad plants. I'm actually, again, just for marathon safety here, going to plant a snow pea right here. These snow peas will slow down zombies. And so what I'm thinking is I really want to protect the vision that we get that the game was nice enough to give us in the middle row here. So you can sort of see, again, my first goal really is to sort of make sure that I have at least some amount of firepower in every row. And I can actually tell based on this cone head that I'm going to need a little bit more firepower here. And you'll see that the cone heads have a little bit more hit points than the regular zombies. So right around now is when our next wave, as you can see here, is going to appear. And this is where we get into another very cool aspect of the RNG with this game, and that's what we call basically the wave hit points RNG, or even the zombie spawns RNG. Is I get a 3-peater, which is arguably the best plant that we can get.
Incredible start this level.
This is truly an incredible start, and I don't know what I did to deserve this. Maybe I suffered through a bad slot machine, and again, this is why we say that, even though we're talking about RNG a lot and kind of all of these little factors that add up, at the end of the day, the game gives you some good luck, some bad luck, and if we play relatively well, hopefully we at least get a somewhat acceptable time here.
I think you've gotten the least amount of lily pads at this point that I've ever seen on Raining Seeds.
Yep. I'm actually hoping that I don't lose this cabbage pulp that we have at the end here. Yep, I think I'll be fine, I think I should be good here. But you can actually see that, again, the exception to the 50% rule is on the waves where we're on the 9th wave, the waves that's right before the huge wave. So once every 10 waves, the game will give you a huge wave, which again is potentially, which again, we can sort of, if we're counting ahead, we actually can know exactly what wave we're on and potentially what zombies we could expect on that wave as a result of what we call wave points. And that is a mechanic where basically a regular zombie is worth 1 wave point. A cone head, which is a little bit stronger, is worth 2 wave points. And then other zombies moving upwards can be 3, 4, 6, or I think even like 8 or 10 wave points, depending on, what we get. So, again, I was a little bit unlucky here that I got a relatively high wave hit point zombie with that screen door, and I didn't have a lot of plants in that row to be able to deal with it very effectively. But again, the different plants sort of counter the different types of zombies that you can get. So you can see that's why in some of the rows I'm trying to get these night plants, the fume shrooms. In other rows I'm trying to put up some repeaters. And there is a fair amount of strategy that sort of goes behind all the different decisions that we make. It's not as visible on this level, but I'll use a chomper right here, and you'll actually see that because I immediately killed that cone head, that basically guarantees that the 50% rule will be satisfied, and that we'll be able to move on to the next wave. And you can see I set up the torchwood right here with some of my other plants. Actually, I'm going to move this guy, I think, over a little bit, see if I can save that lily pad. But ooh, goodness, yeah. And again, this level can be really nasty. That sometimes, again, they have these bungee zombies that'll take your plants. And there's really nothing you can do about it. You basically hope that they don't steal your good plants, and but again, try to prepare for everything that we can, and hang on to this cherry for just a little bit longer. Again, to sort of hopefully give a really good demonstration of exactly sort of the strength of the 50% rule and how the game, does move along with with the waves as we move. So that was the ninth wave. So now we have a huge wave coming up, which is why I wanted to save this cherry bomb, just in case we have some problematic zombies there that don't want to cooperate with us. I can see a very high hit point bucket head right at the top there.
With that.
Yep. Get rid of him. And a football, an even stronger football zombie. But luckily, I had an instant, this hypno shroom, to deal with him right away. So yeah. Good
job with that. That was lucky because backing up. A question that I get asked very often is, what is your favorite plant in the game? And my favorite plant in this game is one that would have come in very, very useful, and often comes in very, very useful with raining seeds in particular. And that would be the magnet shroom. And the magnet shroom is a pretty vital part if you want this level to go very, very well. If you're going for like world record on it, because what the magnet shroom does is it repeatedly will steal metal objects, and since metal objects or zombies carrying metal objects often have some of the highest amounts of hit points out of any zombie, you're basically activating the 50% rule over and over and over again super fast, rather than having to worry about getting instants for all of those like football zombies or bucket heads or whatever. And so unfortunately it does not seem as though Warmek's gotten one. But here's hoping that, before the very end, we'll be able to see, the magnet shroom make an appearance, perhaps.
The power of the magnet for sure. And so again, I actually looked at Wikipedia. I swear this is a true story. Right before this run, to sort of see like how generally you would classify this game. And of course, they classify it basically as a tower defense game. And I think a lot of us probably remember, like the original tower defense game. Some Warcraft mods. Anyway, I say most of us, I'm probably dating myself here, but those of us that have experienced the internet for a long time probably remember the original tower defense games pretty well. But I actually find that there's more in common with this game with like a real-time strategy game, or even, again, sort of, like other types of strategy games like Tetris or something like that. Again, in large part due to the fact that really, like, there are certain types of zombies that counter certain types of plants that counter certain types of zombies, and you're always, again, not on a level like this, but you're sort of constantly sort of trying to answer that question of, how much do I focus on my eco or my economy versus how much do I focus on trying to kill the enemy or the plants. And again, really the game has an absolutely brilliant design, sort of in that regard, that again, like the instants do a good job of like countering the high hit point zombies, but they tend to be more expensive and are more limited by their cooldown or their recharge time on a more traditional level. So really the answer to the question of, how can you guys speedrun this game comes into just that, in the same way that you could sort of speedrun any other strategy game. In that it's really a game of making decisions, right? What plants do I plant? Where do I plant them? Do I focus on some of the more higher hit point zombies, or do I sort of plan ahead for the future? And again, the most successful runners are those that, again, are very good at making those decisions and, kind of always keeping in mind, like always sort of thinking, how quickly can I deal with the current wave while still planning ahead for the future? So again, it's like most games, there's sort of a lot more to Plants vs. Zombies than maybe meets the eye initially. And it's certainly, I've been speedrunning the game for about probably 2.5 years now, and I love it more and more every time that I play it, sort of for those very reasons. There's always new strategies. Believe it or not, earlier today in our Discord, someone came up with a new strategy for one of these levels. And again, we have dozens of runners. We've put collectively as a community probably tens of thousands of hours into the game, and nonetheless we're still constantly finding new things, finding new ways to optimize the game, and just sort of focusing, just sort of always coming up with better ways to do one or two, particular levels. So that's really what I love about the game. Again, the fact that no level is deterministic, meaning that we always plan to have different, there's always the idea that the zombies do not always appear in the same rows at the same time. Again, that's one of the truly beautiful things about this game, that I think not only makes it a great game, but makes it an even better speedrun. As I sacrifice my vision here to have the squash, I have a little plushy squash here to
Looks like about a 10-minute
to help me out.
speedrun.
Again, another not too bad level.
Yeah.
I was going to
Ooh, you know
say
what time it
the
is.
Starfruits, bless the run, but then Warmac dug one up, and I'm very sad about it.
Invisible. This feels like a level that may not have had quite enough quality assurance testing done to it, because it feels like this level gives you about 4/5 of the amount of defense that you really need for it to go well. And so a critical aspect of how we speedrun this game, especially mini games, comes into play. It's not the most obvious on this level, but it's more obvious on later levels like Walnut Bowling 2, but it's pretty important nonetheless. And so this is the first time that we in this run see the dreaded conveyor here. And this conveyor has caused much pain and suffering in the PvZ speedrunning community. Many levels in this game with conveyors prove to be some of the most inconsistent and RNG-based levels out of all of them. But luckily, the game does provide us with a little tool to help mitigate that problem, and that is some manipulation of this conveyor. So basically what happens is, for levels with more than 2 different plant types, so basically every level but Walnut Bowling 1, you can manipulate the conveyor, because if you hold on to 3 or more copies of the same plant, so right now we have 3 walnuts in the conveyor, it'll make it less likely that specific plant, that we'll see more of it. So the probability of getting another walnut now has been reduced. And if you get to 4 of the same type of plant, I believe that the probability goes all the way down to 1%. So because of that, we can hold on to the plants that we don't want, like walnuts for now at least, and we can hopefully increase the chances of getting the plants we do want, like lily pads and pea shooters. This looks like a decent start to me as well. It looks like we have a
I was going to say,
amount.
I'm very worried right now for Warmac, just because he only has the one lily pad, and once
The
we start
lily
getting
pad was
zombies,
the issue.
Yeah,
to be sure.
that can be a death very easily from just the game deciding no lily pads.
I am, however, a little bit reassured by the fact that we have the amount of firepower that we do at this point, which is, I'd say, not necessarily breaking any records, but it's definitely, ooh, you can hear that ping noise.
Yeah.
Yeah, Super brings up a good point. There are audio cues that we that we have that sort of help us, react to certain zombies. You can hear a very light pinging.
Yep. There
Ping, 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 and that tells me that there's a bucket head there. And there's sort of a clunk, clunk that you get when you when you get a cone head, and more like of a plip, plip. My onomatopoeia isn't exactly spot on with these things, but nonetheless, there are ways that you can sort of tell, where the future zombies are going to be coming. Ooh, yep, yeah, that was not a great break that we got right there. Again, the lack of lily pads really kind of rearing its ugly head here. So I'm going to have to
see what you're doing there.
Engage in a couple safety strats to see if we can, see if we can get a better handle on that one and not take a death on this level, which again, if the RNG is really, really not with us, it is a possibility.
Yeah, so right now in the chat, for sure, pray for lily pads right now. We need at least one more.
Yeah, lily pad
protect from dolphins.
With this is one of those levels where it feels like you need the right amount of every plant. Like there are some levels where basically it's dependent on getting the right amount of one specific plant. Like, for example, I feel like in level 110 in adventure mode, it's really just down to how many cherry bombs you get and very little else. But with this one, not only do you need the right number of pea shooters, the right number of squashes, and the right number of, you also need like the right number of lily pads, and walnuts can be helpful, so can ice shrooms. So it can be very, very difficult to get everything to work out just perfectly. And so
I would like to point out an insane thing that happened. You may notice that this walnut is no longer being eaten. And you might ask yourself, how could have that possibly happened? Well, the answer is the ice shroom does 1 damage. So we were at a situation.
1 piece worth,
yeah, 1 piece worth of damage. And so we were at the point where that zombie was down to just 1 hit point left. That was it. And the ice shroom that we did managed to not only save this row, but potentially help save this level a little bit from potential disaster. So again, sometimes stalling out the plants, that's actually never happened to me in a run before, despite the many attempts that I've done on this particular mini game. Again, in particular, ooh, goodness.
Oh, and we can hear the dolphins about to come in.
Two dolphins. If you heard that squeaking, that's the sign that there's a very fast dolphin zombie coming in the pool, and you should be basically prepared for disaster to ensue, which really kind of has happened here, unfortunately.
Oh, losing both lily pads. That sucks. And there comes the dolphin. That could spell very bad news.
Ooh.
Could we get a lily pad in time? Ooh.
Just managed to save it with that lily pad, I think.
Wow.
Yep, it just
very
moved over.
lucky. Oh,
you may have noticed I wasn't using the squashes, despite the fact that they have a lot of ability. That's mostly for sort of a marathon safety sort of strat. In the second half, you can get these zombonis. That's that little ice that you see right there. Oh goodness, this row is really not pretty. I'm gonna see if I can hold this off till maybe even the final wave. To be honest, that's how bad things are looking here.
It'll be interesting to see if you get ice shrooms as well for the final wave, because there is a glitch that we actually do take advantage of. One of the very rare glitches in this game. This game is, on the whole, extremely well made, and because of that, most of the speedrun, elements rely more on the mechanics and taking advantage of the mechanics rather than actually taking advantage of the game itself. The lack of lily pads is not ideal.
I'm terrified right now, I must say. But I believe in Warmech, if we can get it.
Believe in the power of the Warmech. You're gonna kind of have to hit this, I think, this ice shroom here, if we want any hope. Well, he did have a lily pad, and he has some pea shooters for sure. That's true. I believe there's nothing in the 4th row right now, at least. And there won't be anything. There won't be anything in the 3rd row if the ice shroom timing is met. All right, here we go. So by placing an ice shroom at exactly the right time, you won't get any zombies in the pool. For some reason, the game just won't. Normally, you would get up. He got it. Normally,
nice.
You can squash all those.
I was worried that squash delayed for a second. I was like, is it not going to go back? Oh, but he got it.
Okay. Perfect. All right. So when did we finish the last level? Was it like 17:30?
Part of the reason I haven't been talking is sort of for the extreme focus factor, so I appreciate you guys covering for me, but this was so scary.
That was a scary level. You did it really well.
Ridiculously. Oh, goodness. Now I don't. This is a squash here. Missed. Please squash.
You just help him out. Going backwards.
It's mocking me. It's totally mocking me. Okay, thank goodness.
That was a very, very rough level.
Oh, my goodness.
But we made it out. And I guess we'll be moving on to everyone's favorite level. Actually, a lot of people do like this level quite a bit casually, myself included. And most people, you know, when you ask them after playing the level, what plant do you think helped you out the most there? A lot of people will definitely give credit to the melon pult here. And the melon pulp is definitely a very useful plant, but really there's only one plant that actually matters here. This is one of those levels that's basically completely down to the number of a single plant that you get, which would be the jalapeno. And the jalapeno, because of the fact that, the gimmick of this level is that when you place a plant, it places it in every row. The jalapeno is basically it destroys everything on screen. And we kind of need that in order for the level to work. You basically can't beat the level if you don't get a jalapeno. And the odds of not getting a single one are relatively low, but it has happened in some important runs. I took a death in the 100% run that I've attempted of this game. I did take a death on this level due to not getting a single one. And so, sometimes the squash can be used to fill in a little bit for that. But here's hoping that Calm Like You See will be relatively
very, very good.
And
there's one. All right.
Awesome.
Yep.
Whew.
Our lives were made much better by the arrival of that jalapeno. That's for sure. You can see I planted the potato mines in a sort of defensive position. Oh shoot, that was actually a slight mistake, but I think it'll be okay.
Should be fine.
Yep.
Oh, jumpers were actually useful. I'm surprised.
Yep.
Usually not
Again,
very
we come well equipped with plushies. So right here, this is actually our 9th wave. So once all these zombies get on screen, I'm going to use the jalapeno. That'll immediately satisfy the 50% rule, which does still exist even in this level, and move us on to the huge wave of zombies. So the jalapeno for those waves right before the huge waves again become very, very, very important.
Someone in chat asked how long are 100% runs. So we define 100% runs to be, beating beating adventure mode and then all the mini games, survivals, and the puzzle levels. We don't include the achievements in this definition because the achievements are saved between files. So if you get it on one file, then you'll have it forever, basically. And so the only way to clear that data would be to erase your entire save. So it ends up being about a 7.5 to 8 hour run. Very, very. You have to have a fair amount of stamina in order to pull one of those off. But it looks like we did get a second jalapeno, which is very, very nice for us. If we could get a third, then I think we would be in for a perfect level here. So let's see. Even without it, we'll definitely still beat the level.
I think honestly, Column is really fun when you do have the jalapenos because
yes,
you can
it's
see
so
he's just letting them run towards those melons, and it will be fun.
And boom, a nice 4th melon, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, one more jalapeno would have been absolutely ideal here, but nonetheless, this final wave should still be relatively quick. I'm not too worried about the drops. We did a fair amount of damage to the big gargantuars that you see right here. Oh, all right, we're gonna actually do this. See if we can start to clear out some of this. The top row might actually be the slow one, believe it or not. Yep.
All right.
Got a couple of.
Maybe you should have let those guys walk to the magnet.
Yep. Oh yeah, that might have been. I can even do that now. Actually, there's sort of no. Getting enough damage, so again, made it out of this in one piece. So we're sort of moving along and going to be moving into here sort of what we consider sort of the first of the skill-based levels in the run. We've been getting a lot of the RNG, the more heavy RNG based levels out of the way initially. But for this one,
really
yep. Is that you, Bulba? No.
All right, looks good. You got everything.
Yep. So again, on this level, you'll sort of really get this type of level really gets to sort of some of the bones of Plants vs. Zombies speedruns. You can see here that we really focus, again, almost like a real-time strategy. We focus a lot on the beginning, in the very beginning, with our sunflower production. Again, trying to get these sunflowers out as fast as we possibly can. But we also have a nice balance. We have a couple of instants to help us kill the zombies quickly, as well as a couple of more like DPS plants to sort of help clear out the rest of the zombies and to sort of provide a supplement when our instants aren't enough. So again, this level will really sort of get into some of the very cool mechanics. Not that we get a lot of like diversity with the zombie types this particular level, but but that's where we're at. thought May made a really good point earlier. It was very sad at the end of It's Raining Seeds that we had to, dig up a couple of plants in order to reach, like to try to kill the final wave a little bit faster. And one thing that you'll sort of find very quickly, if you begin speedrunning this game, is that you sort of have to remove a lot of the emotional attachment that you have to the plants that you might have had.
And also the symmetry as well.
And things like symmetry. This is not a run for those that are very particular about those sorts of things. This is a run where, again, you're going purely for speed. It can be ugly. It can be imperfect, imbalanced. You might have to dig up 5 or even 10 plants. You might need to intentionally use your lawnmowers, as you can sort of see that I'm doing right here. You may need to do all those things at once in order to get a good time. But if it's faster, we'll do it. So again, I think a lot of us sort of had some, again, a more emotional type of relationship with the plants. Like maybe had kind of had higher plans and so forth for the plants. But again, sort of all that goes by the wayside when you're speed running this game. Actually, see here.
You may not be used to the what we seem to be doing here. A lot of people, when they first play this level, definitely struggle with figuring out exactly what to do. It's known as one of the harder mini games, but the Gloom Shroom, as many people learn, is very OP. It's its ability to kill. Ooh, got that guy. Kill zombies, right on the right side of the board. Activate that 50% rule basically as fast as possible with its high DPS, and it can, attack multiple zombies at once. We do use it on quite a few levels in this run. So you will be seeing the Gloom Shroom again, to be sure. And all right, looks like the level is going fairly well. It looks like you did also offer some safer strats as well, letting 3 zombies go at the start, building up that sun production as effectively as possible. And
I think a lot of us probably had an opinion too of what some of like the best plants and the worst plants were when we were playing through casual. I know for me, like I loved the winter melon, I loved the snow pea. I liked being able to like really slow down and kind of stall out the zombies as much as I possibly could. But we sort of have a different metric for how strong we consider. Actually, I just realized I do have a lawnmower there, so I don't need to worry about that too much. We sort of have a different metric for how strong we consider plants in the speedrun, and that's mainly like how often do we use them on particular levels. So you'll notice on a lot of the levels we'll take the Gloom Shroom, the reason being that the Gloom Shroom has great DPS in an area, so by planting these glooms as far forward as we do, we're able to basically damage the zombies very quickly, satisfy the 50% rule, and move forward with things, as opposed to something like a melon pult that's almost as expensive, but it only helps you on 1 row, not on 3 rows, and the overall DPS that it has is a little bit lower. So again,
the melon pult actually kind of sucks. the game kind of brags in the almanac, like the melon's like, oh, run the numbers, I deal the most damage, but it only deals like about twice the damage of like as like a cabbage pult. It has like a similar DPS to a repeater, so really it's kind of overpriced for what it does, although we do appreciate it for sure on Zomboss, though. Don't get me wrong, Melon Pult, we do love you, but just maybe not the very best plant for our purposes.
To be fair to the melon pult, it's not in a premium plant or like an evolved plant
True,
like the Gloom is. So just for like a plant that you can just standard get in a run, it does have the most power. So
yeah. Definitely, we got to be fair to it, but. All right, you even had an extra doom at the end there. Oh, actually, I lied. Never mind.
I thought for sure that was the wave 2, but I'm like, wait, I tried to count. So what we were trying to do there was on the 29th wave, on the wave right before the huge wave, we were trying to use a doom to kill that wave immediately, because that was one you can see right here. We'll use a doom again. Oh goodness, we got a little bit trolled here, but that's okay. Actually,
unfortunately, the AOE damage of the melon pult also kind of sucks. The splash that it deals, each individual hit of the splash is less than a P of damage. Or no, not less than a P, but a fair amount less than the main main one. So this level right here is a great example of the 50% rule. If you've been kind of having a hard time, if you've heard what we, how we explained the 50% rule, but you kind of had a hard time exactly seeing how it fit into the run, this level in particular will be an excellent showcase of that. As we can see, you're able to, destroy that one newspaper zombie, and so the next wave will spawn. And we're going to be able to, hit this cone here, 50% rule activated, and there it is. It was a little bit slow getting on screen, but so the 50% rule is a very hard and fast rule, and trying to get through these waves as fast as possible in Walnut Bowling will be absolutely key. Although, interestingly enough, Walnut Bowling is one of the levels that suffers the most also from bad 50% rules. And so I think Warmack mentioned this earlier, but the 50% rule isn't just 50%. It can be anywhere between 35 and 50% of the total wave's hit points. And so sometimes if you get a little bit luckier, you can get away with dealing a little bit less damage to all the zombies, and the next wave will spawn anyway. But sometimes with this level in particular, it feels like you can be attacking these zombies for a specific wave for ages, and the next wave will just not spawn because you got one that was like almost exactly 50%. So
we sort of have a few nicknames for some of the levels, and for this one we call it Walnut Trolling because there's no question that for the most part this level really tries to troll you and very rarely gives you a break. Although I do get a couple of half decent bounces here, but this one can definitely be.
Yeah, the conveyor belt manipulation that I mentioned earlier, this is the only, or at least one of the only levels that doesn't work on because there are only 2 plants. So there's actually a fixed 15% chance for any walnut that you get that it is an Explode-A-Nut. And those Explode-A-Nuts are vital to the success of the level. We need those Explode-A-Nuts. And it looks like Warmack's gotten a decent amount at this point. But there will be times when you play this level and you just get none, or you get a million in a row. And all right, looks like things are moving along. Used a lawnmower there. We do definitely want to use the lawnmowers on this level because they provide free 50% rule activations, and also because when you use a lawnmower, if you'll notice, we're not getting any zombies in that bottom row. For the next 2 waves here, we won't see any zombies in the bottom row because Warmack used that mower. So that's very useful on levels like this, because then you can get on the final wave, for example, all the zombies bunched up and you can kill them all at one. But using it a little bit early, we'll see how that impacts the rest of the level.
Yes, that can definitely be very risky, and especially if you're like learning the run still and you're a newer player, it can be very overwhelming to have a bunch of zombies coming down a non-lawnmower row. So this is giving me a bit of anxiety. I'm personally
you're not the only one.
Don't
Trust
care
me.
for Walnut Bowling that much.
No, Walnut Bowling is not. Walnut Bowling 1, to be specific, is not my favorite level. But as we will see, that conveyor manipulation that I mentioned earlier will make Walnut Bowling 2 quite a different story. But that's getting ahead of ourselves. Let's hope that Warmack will be able to pull this one off cleanly. He's
getting
definitely
a little close, but he has some Explodos in reserve, and that's definitely a really good sign.
Yeah.
I think we only have like a couple more waves coming here.
Yeah. I think he might have to use a defensive Explode-A-Nut here. Yes.
Yeah. But well placed though, it got them all at least.
Yes.
So that's the big thing.
Exactly. See if we can get this 50% rule without using Explode-A-Nuts. Interesting. Kind of got bad bounce there as well. If that had hit the bucket head, that would have been okay. Much better. Yeah, see that bucket head, that one hit for the bucket head was able to activate the 50% rule, which is why we often try to go for the higher hit point zombies. All right, well, let's see what the plan is here. It's definitely making me a little bit nervous, but I trust Warmack has everything under control.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad I'm giving you that illusion, Cooper, because
that was scary.
This is feeling anything but under control to me. But I actually think this will be okay. I think there's a very, very
that
low
top
chance
row
that
is definitely going to be interesting to see, though.
Yeah.
Hoping to get an Explodo relatively soon. That would be.
Ooh.
Okay.
All right.
I would
definitely
some of the
not waste
faster zombies at the very least.
Any of these on that fourth row there. I would just sort of
the Explodo RNG is not with me at the end of this level here, but
I'm like very scared right now with how far that newspaper is.
I think it'll be okay. I think you'll get them. Yeah, you'll get them fast enough. You'll be just fine. That was a very, very interesting level.
Now we get the Explodo right at the very end.
Used all 5 mowers, but sometimes walnut bowling will be like that. And now we have another fun level, and by fun I mean complete RNG hell. But again, I have a personal relationship with Zomboss.
Yeah, Super, do you want to talk a little bit about any percent and how much you love that
I would
Zomboss is the
love
last thing you have to do?
So in Zomboss, he's all based around the number of cycles, because basically what happens here is, he'll play some zombies for a little while, and you'll have to, take him down. But then eventually, when whenever he wants to, he'll come down and show his face, and you'll be able to use a bunch of instants on him. And so for mini games in particular, the good number of cycles to get Zomboss in is 4 cycles. Ideally, we'll see Zomboss die within 4 cycles, but sometimes that doesn't happen because Zomboss has a few tricks up his sleeve. The first thing that he likes to do is he likes to breathe this ball of either fire or ice on you. And that will destroy a whole row and its roof cleaner as well, if you let it happen, but you can use an instant against it. Sometimes, however, the game will just decide not to give you the right instant at the right time, although that's usually not the huge problem. And so as we'll see here, Warmex, he's gotten some melon pulse. He used a jalapeno there. Generally, we like to be a little bit, more conservative with the first cycle in particular, because we don't have everything out that we want, so we might want to save some instants for later.
I think he was also at that point probably trying not to push it over into like getting an early bungee, because that could definitely slow you down.
And the other trick that Zomboss likes to throw at us is his friendly bungees, and even better, his bust. That was a fast second cycle. And so basically we just sort of have to hope that Zomboss will not throw the bus in an area with a lot of plants. Because if he does that, then essentially the game's saying you're screwed and there's nothing you can do. Of course, that's not completely true, but it certainly does feel like it sometimes. So I think Warmech will probably be getting... Are we going to bust the cycle, or are we going to get a bungee?
It feels like a bungee cycle, but yeah, okay, here we go. Here's
okay,
bungee. He'll start off with the bungee, for sure.
Right. So far, so good. Very strong first 2 cycles here. And so the annoying thing about Zomboss in any percent is that he's the very last level that you play. And so it will vary by, sometimes upwards of a minute, and you can be on this, really lovely run and then just have Zomboss be like, no, unfortunately not going to PD. Luckily, we're allowed to do him a little bit earlier in minigames. But that doesn't mean that he's all that nice. These have been some really fast cycles. I will say.
I was a little worried at your current health point. There is something in specifically Zomboss's Revenge that's kind of like in a cycle where if he's between like 30 to 50% of his health, he goes back up, he has a chance of just doing like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of just not coming down and continuing to do bungees and buses at you. And that is tragic whenever you're getting here in mini games.
This is looking pretty nice though. Again, I shouldn't have said anything.
Ooh. Oh, super.
Yes, I said something.
Super.
Damn it. Well, too bad.
So, yeah, the melon pulse are the highest DPS plant that we get, again, aside from the instance, aside from the jalapeno. And Zomboss throws a bus in a random location. So you can actually see I've deliberately not placed a number of plants in the middle, sort of in the hopes that if he throws a bus, he's a little bit statistically more likely to throw it towards the middle than he is on either of the edges. And so, and we actually don't mind even if this pogo gets through, which it looks like it's going to. We actually, we'll sometimes deliberately try to not plant too many plants in the middle because, we want that if he's going to throw the bus, we'd rather him throw it in an area where there's not, we're statistically, the area statistically where he's more likely to throw the bus. We want that to be in an area where there are hopefully not as many plants.
Ooh,
so
that
we did
flower pot.
kind of.
Stolen
The
from you.
basketball actually
It's the
doing
flower
something.
pot diet.
Right,
Yep,
let's
yep.
see if you're able to wrap things up in this cycle. The flower
I think
pot
it's gonna be a little
count is
too much.
high. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't love my chances of finishing Zomboss this cycle. So what I might do,
Just go for a fast cycle here.
yeah, just go, try to do as much damage as I can and just get the fast cycle in there. Maybe those 2 ice shrooms would have got me super close, but you know. So again, in general, we try to put some of our stronger plants along the edges so that, again, if we get bust, it's not going to be as painful as it was. But unfortunately, when he did throw that actually, both of these busts, he's done quite a bit of damage. So that's a little unfortunate.
It's because I'm here. I'm so sorry. My fault.
Yeah, again, Super and Zabas, they go way back. They go way back.
Way back.
Not really ever to a good place, unfortunately. So,
but I'm very confident you'll be able to wrap this up in the 5th cycle, which is and 5 cycles is about the standard for Dr. Zomboss's Revenge, because he does have a little bit more health in mini games than he does have in 90%. Although these Gargs are definitely getting a little bit intense.
We were talking about the emotional attachment to the plants, and again, I think this is another very, very good example of that. Just that we really can't get too attached to any of the plants. That I did not want to use any of my instants because I wanted all of those to be saved for to be able to do damage on Zomboss rather than being used to save some of the plants or some of the rows. So
it wouldn't be a Plants vs. Zombies run without at least one time where you click outside the game window. The game automatically pauses when you click outside the game window, and
it's the most frustrating thing.
It is extremely frustrating. So it happens to literally everyone. But again, Walnut Bowling 2 time, this is where the conveyor belt manipulation will be extremely important. So normally when you play this level, it's extremely difficult. Like, this was one of the hardest mini games for me casually, because you just, you just don't quite get enough to deal with the zombies. But since we're not going to use these regular walnuts, all we're going to get virtually every single one, we might still get a couple regular walnuts, is going to be the giant walnuts, which take out an entire row of zombies, or the explode nuts, which we saw earlier. And they are going to help us greatly. And in fact, because of that, Walnut Bowling 2, with its extra flag, is often faster than Walnut Bowling 1, because we're just able to use these super valuable plants over and over again, because we can manipulate the less useful regular walnuts away.
And you can see exactly what we were talking about right here. At the beginning of the level, we got about 4 or 5 walnuts in a row while only getting one of the other types. Now that we've manipulated the RNG and we're not using these walnuts, you'll see it reduces to about a 1% chance that we get a walnut on any particular spawn for the rest of the level. So again, as a result, this level, before we understood the RNG as well as we do now, this level used to take about 8 to 10 minutes. Now we're hoping to be able to do it under 5, and the best runners can do it in just over 4 minutes. So again, being able to manipulate the RNG is very, very important, especially on a level like this that only has 3 plants, 2 of which normally have a very, very low probability of occurring. So again, as a result, like Super said, this is actually one of the easier mini games, relatively speaking. There's still some RNG elements to it, but
I would say it's not one of the easier mini games. I'd say that it's definitely one of the less punishing in terms of RNG. Getting good at this is one of the highest skill cap mini games, though. Like, you, with practice, you can definitely see substantial improvements, but it's definitely one of the easier ones in terms of finishing it with the RNG manipulation.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of 50% roll calculation here, where you're constantly wanting to see what's coming up in that next row. Should I be using a giant nut? Should I be using the explodo nuts? Like, which one is gonna get that 50% roll the fastest?
Lots of those decisions.
So it's a lot of adapting to it.
And that would look like a bad 50% rule right there.
Yeah, I got about 2 bad 50% rolls there. So you can see I usually try to use the Explodo Nuts because on average, because they usually hit 3 of the rows, they'll very, very often give you a 50% roll, but not always. So you have to be, again, a little bit cautious on this level. Again, it's okay to use a lawnmower too, like we did in Walnut 1 to sort of just help, consolidate the zombies a little bit, save yourself a plant or 2 that you'd rather not give up. Ugh. these guys were a little bit slow in getting on screen, unfortunately. That was a bad 50% rule as well. All right, what do we got here? I'm actually going to do this. Hopefully this gives us 50%. It should. Okay. Kind of get sniped a little bit there. Again, you could. It's sort of a very quick bit of mental math that you have to do of, what. Oh wow! I can't believe that guy was so slow that it slipped right through. That was
that hitbox.
That was crazy.
So
that hitbox was ridiculous.
Literally,
it was like as slow as it possibly could be. I'm actually going to let this next wave go just because I don't want to waste any more plants than I absolutely have to there. But oh
that happens
man,
a lot with lawnmowers. We use a lot of lawnmowers in any percent and stuff like that. You'll see the zombie and it just won't die due to the lawnmower. It happens very, very frustratingly often because zombies don't actually, they'll appear, but then it'll be a little bit before their hitbox is actually active.
Yeah, luckily for minigames, you can feel free to use as many lawnmowers as you want. I know in any percent, sometimes you have to hold off because you need the money in the actual run. But luckily, minigames, you already are ready and you've statted up, ready for your minigame run.
That was
very fun.
Definitely.
Very curious hitboxes there at the end as well, but that's all right. And now, again, on to mechanically my favorite mini game, but it's not my favorite in terms of how kind it is to me sometimes on my runs. This is Portal Combat. Again, you may remember the Portal games. This basically has the same effect. We have our pea shooters that shoot down a lane. I'll do this as an example just to sort of demonstrate it, and it'll go through the portal into the other rows. But of course, what else goes to the other rows? The zombies. And so a lot of this level is sort of about being able to sort of use the portals to your advantage and really try to maximize the amount of damage that you're doing to the zombies, while still preparing for some really nasty zombies that we can get later on in the level. Of course, in the middle of the run, it's not just like this. The portals will move. So you're again sort of once again forced to adapt to, okay, if this portal moves, where's my firepower going to be? So that's why we plant our firepower a little bit farther back here, just to sort of help protect it from possible disaster later on in the level when the portals move around a little bit and we're not able to sort of take advantage of the more reliable mechanics that we have right here towards the beginning.
Yeah, and I think portals is just such a swing level because you could get a portal that leads directly to your lawnmower and you can't do anything about it. And you can also have portals that make this really nice, like, kill lane essentially for you, where you just have like so many peas going through like a torchwood and just you're hitting that 50% roll so fast. So it's definitely, when we see this first portal, we'll kind of see how it's going to go for this level.
Oh, that was a very strange 50% roll. I kind of wasted a cherry there, but that's all right. And what we also found is that the game is more likely to give you zombies in rows that do have a portal, but there is sort of a minimum that goes along with it. So for example, there will be no zombies that appear in this fourth row right here because it only has a length of 2. But if that goes up to like a length of 3 or a length of 4, then there will be zombies that appear there. And the game, again, it plays favorites. It is a little more likely to give you zombies in rows that do have portals than those that don't. So again, we're also sort of at the mercy of the game of, sometimes it may look like a row really doesn't have a whole lot going on and it's going to be a piece of cake. But if a portal moves and all of a sudden the game, again, you'll see like it's really going to be pressing really hard on this top row, which has a portal, this bottom row, which has a portal, and now probably the second row, which has a portal and not a lot of damage to back it up. I'm actually going to try to get a couple of plants right here, again, in preparation that now the zombies are going to start really sort of favoring, the second row, the first row, the fourth row, and the fifth row, because all of those rows have portals and the other rows do not.
Yeah, the second and fourth row look kind of scary right now. These are not great placements.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if I can get a little bit of value out of this cherry bomb right here.
Good cherry bomb in me.
Yeah, just to, again, sometimes you just got to clear them out. There's nothing you can do. You just got to kind of push the reset button and get back to the basics. Let's see. Yeah, unfortunately, a lot of zombies showing up in this row. Also, yeah, I'm kind of worried about this. There's not a lot there. We haven't talked too much about money. That doesn't matter that much in this category, but in any percent, money helps a lot, and in fact is basically essential to getting a good time. So we sort of joke about, those runs where it's like anything in life, right? You don't get money when you need it, or when you don't need it. You do get money when you don't need it, and you don't get money when you do need it. So there's sort of they're sort of the same with the speed run as well.
Those diamonds would have been very useful.
And again, I'm very glad I saved 2 cherries for the end right here. You can sort of see 1, 2, final wave done.
Mm-hmm.
So again, a lot of this level is about, again, do you use those instants a little bit sooner to speed up some of the earlier waves, or do you save it for a little bit later? With the later waves. So
this level in particular has seen some strat refinement very, very recently.
Yes.
It definitely is one of the more shall we say, nerve-wracking levels.
What am I missing here? Oh my goodness.
Potato mine.
Yeah.
All right. Yep. I'm getting used to new strats here, so I apologize for the clumsiness. But
and of course, I guess we should probably touch on plant selection. So plant selection is definitely a place where runners can save or lose a fair amount of time. I personally don't tend to focus on it as much as I think I should be, because I always assume that, it's something that I can get better at later. And for now, it's really just, because it's a purely mechanical thing rather than strat. Like you don't really, improving your plant selection doesn't necessarily make you any better at the game. But definitely, picking the wrong plants can prove to be a huge issue in some cases. So taking that little bit of extra time, especially in a marathon setting like this, can be a good idea. But yeah, so zombie nimble, zombie quick. Before this, it's not necessarily too uncommon to just have this level show exactly how prepared or unprepared you are, and it can do that in a very, very shall we say it doesn't sugarcoat it exactly. But recently, we've introduced the cattail to this level, and the cattail is definitely a very a fan favorite plant because of its ability to shoot in every row, take down balloon zombies, fire super fast, and also the fact that it's pretty cute. But it definitely proves to be useful here because it basically will soften a lot of that general unpreparedness and clean up after all these zombies that, as you can see, are sort of escaping. Without the cattail, it might be a little bit more difficult to deal with all those, but definitely it proves to be very useful here. Another diamond.
I just want to shout out that A1 actually came up with a strat and just shared it with everyone. And it's just this strat in particular is so impressive because doing this level before was definitely you had a high amount of anxiety because you never know if one of those dolphins is going to go straight for the pool cleaner, and then once it's gone, you could just be gone. Having the cattails as backup, it somehow does not lose time or have that major of a trade-off, but you still manage to go very quick and still hit those 50% rules because you have the glooms doing a lot of damage. And it's just somehow so very good at being dealing with all of these hectic situations, and honestly is so cool that that we've been adapted it even just last week. So it's definitely
This is unfortunately the only level that we use the cattail on, though, because while it is very fun to use, since zombie nimble, zombie quick, since it does play at double speed, that means all the time saves and time losses are sort of halved. So in large part, the cattail is very useful in this level. But when in other pool levels where we're really able to get down to the minutia of the time save and time loss, it doesn't usually, unfortunately, get included. But here it does. So enjoy it while you can.
Yes, I'm very glad I love that we have it now in the run.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I call this level 2 early onset carpal tunnel syndrome. It's very, it's basically, it's like a normal pool level in New Game Plus, with the exception, of course, everything plays at double speed. So, and with again the dolphins that are very fast, the vaulters that are very fast, there's definitely a lot to try to deal with here. So. We definitely try our best, but the cattail, again, like its overall DPS isn't that impressive, but the fact that it helps us deal with a lot of the rows that would otherwise be a real problem, I think, is the main advantage that we get for taking it along. So again, definitely makes the level more consistent, faster, and more reliable. So it sort of has that trifecta. Of everything that we would that we'd look for it in a speed run. What do we got here?
Did we buy the rake in the last level? I just wanted to check.
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that was it's a couple of seconds, but the rake is one thing we haven't talked about too much. That's the one item that we buy a couple of times during mini games, and it kills the first zombie automatically. So basically, it knows with 100% accuracy what zombie what wave the first zombie is going to appear in. There's a rake there, and so of course for speedrunning purposes, it's not only relatively fast, right, faster than we would basically be able to kill the zombie, but it allows us to focus again a little bit more on some of our economic plants a little bit earlier. So we don't need to build, we hopefully don't need to build too many defensive plants that early in the level. So although we have to take a couple of seconds out of the run to go and buy the rake, it's well worth it. And so one of the reasons that we set the level, we set the order of the levels in mini games the way that we do, is so that we can buy the rake at the ideal time. You can buy the rake before the timer starts in the run, so that's one use, and then you just need to go out and buy it twice, 2 other times, and we sort of optimize it such that you then get the rake. You get the rake for 3 levels each time you buy it, and basically you're able to you're guaranteed to have it on the 9 levels that need the rake the most. Like for example, I guess we don't really need it in Slot Machine, but that's another one where it's again we sort of there's been sort of a lot of discussion, and some runners will actually run mini games in a different order from you see me doing here. But for the most part, all the runners are sort of unanimous in trying to trying to make sure that we that we get the that we've done a good job kind of optimizing. When do we buy the rake? When do we getting some of the more high RNG levels out of the way first? Then kind of going with the higher skill-based levels. And then moving into some of we call them free levels, although there's really no level that's free in any speed run, much less in this game. But moving on to those levels to finish things off. So unfortunately, it does mean that the run is a little bit anticlimactic in terms of where there's the most opportunity for excitement. Like Zomboss and Zombie Nimble. Those ones are very exciting. They're fast. They're action paced. We sort of end the run with a little bit of ease. But again, I think any speedrunner will appreciate the fact that there's something nice to having a little bit more stability and predictability at the end of a speed game.
So right here, in Zombotany 2, it really shows off that 50% rule even more. Because we're dealing with zombies that have the augmentations of plants, Wormic's going to be targeting the walnuts and the tall nuts and what is just your tanky plants, because once those are gone, that wave health is just going to be gone. The one thing that you really have to keep an eye out for here is that there are squash zombies in Zombotany 2, and they just love to just start charging at your glooms. So you need to sacrifice some other plant quite often to save your gloom, so that you don't have to pay all the sun to bring one back up again. It's not the end of the level if it happens, but it's definitely scary.
Yep. And it wouldn't be any PvZ run without at least one misclick. Although we could say maybe this is planned, right? Maybe it's planned. Oh, look at this! I'm actually going to get some good damage on this guy.
We'll just call it preemptive squash right there, and we'll go with that.
Squash versus squash, man. Oh, let's bring out the plushies, because that's
often with that squash. It feels like you're just basically placing whatever your mouse cursor, whatever plant you pick. Sometimes there's very little thought that goes into it. Usually I try to do a sunflower or something, but
yeah.
If you have to place down, it basically is whatever's first, because you really do not want to lose that gloom.
I have panicked in the past and placed down like a doom right in the last flag and just freaked out after I realized what happened. But it happens sometimes. The chompers are actually very useful for this level. Like, this is probably where they get to show off being useful the most, is because they can take out a tall nut by themselves, and there's no other plant besides like instants, like the doom shroom, that can take it out by itself. So it's really satisfying to just see that chomper ready and being able to.
Ooh, please! Well. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh no!
I had nothing off cooldown, but
there was absolutely nothing. Yep. Well, it looks like luckily you do have the gloom available to be
gloom here.
I'm a little worried about that pea shooter, but I think it should be fine.
Yeah,
just barely. Yeah.
Hopefully, I did have my first. The jalapeno is a very, very scary prospect in this level, and it's only gone off once in a run, and that was actually during practice for this event. So I'm really hoping, hoping that the game cooperates with us and shows us a little bit of love here. But
did it go off that early? I don't know if I've ever seen it happen in an actual attempt.
Yeah, it was. I'd made some mistakes, so I just didn't get enough damage done to it early enough, and that was kind of the coup de grace. So, yep. And this should be our next to final wave here. So you can see I have my doom. We call these proactive dooms. You plant them in advance a little bit, sort of with the idea that when you need them, you can use them. And now I'll have another one off cooldown for the final wave.
Because with those 9th and then also 19th and 29th waves, you do need to, the 50% rule does require you to destroy every last zombie. And also here we make sure absolutely to make sure that every zombie gets on screen, because as has happened to many of us quite a few times, that tall nut zombie, it gets on screen, at least visually, a little bit earlier than than you can actually kill it. And a few times you'll be waiting for another instant to recharge to deal with it. So
in practice, I can't tell you how many times that happened as well. But the doom shroom again is very, very nice. A plant that I didn't give too much love to in casual play, because I was like, the disadvantage is it blows a crater in the ground and you can't place there for a long, long time. I think it's about 3 minutes, which can be a pretty long time in a whether it's a speedrun setting or not. But the advantage is, and why we use it so often in the speedrun, is because it kills all the zombies in a 5x5 area, with the exception of like the gargantuar. And so, again, that obviously is hugely helpful for these final waves where we have a large number of zombies on screen, not nearly enough instants to be able to deal with them. But if we can collect, if we can kind of get them all dead in one fell swoop with the doom shroom, again, it really does help speed things along substantially. So there is kind of an art to the doom shroom as well. Again, sort of making sure all the zombies are on screen and they're in good locations. But again, those are all definitely things that we work out. Kind of you get used to. You definitely work them out kind of once you become a little more familiar with the game.
Yeah. Someone in chat asked why we're planting the sunflower, or why you're planting the sunflowers in the specific way that you are. And the reason why is because what we're doing here is we're letting these zombies go to the lawnmower. And that may seem a little bit counterproductive at first, because it's like, it's a speed run. We want to kill the zombies as fast as possible. We don't want to just, let them go to the mower and, have to force the 50% rule to auto activate after, 25, 31 seconds. But it ends up being much more useful for us to do that because we can build up this sun, and the mower itself proves to be a huge benefit because as we can see here, this 4th row zombie, the mower's released, and then bam, we kill that pea shooter zombie that showed up there, helping us activate the 50% rule later on a little bit faster. So we both get the benefit of being able to build up sun right away. And also being able to activate that 50% rule a little bit faster. So that's why we, plant the sunflowers a little bit strangely, so we can really leave those rows open for those lawnmowers to be able to be used.
Again, I think in casual play, I know I certainly thought, and even when we started speedrunning the game and sort of, the strategies weren't nearly as optimized as they are today, we sort of think, all right, the only way to kill the zombies is with, or the only way to kill the zombies is with the is with plants, right? We always need to have some kind of plant to kill the zombies. But what we realized, of course, is that that's actually not true. The lawnmowers potentially have the ability to kill the zombies. And not only that, of course, they also have the ability to prevent zombies from appearing in certain rows. And so over time, we've sort of learned to, really take advantage of that mechanic and, use the lawnmowers to our advantage, not just in any percent, but really in, almost all of these levels, at least to some extent.
Yes. So the twin sunflower, very interestingly you bring that up. The issues with the twin sunflower that one, its recharge is it's being an upgrade plant. All the upgrade plants have an extremely long recharge, 50 seconds. And since this level is beaten in around 4 minutes or so, we wouldn't have enough time to get it out anyway, so we'd be using up a seed slot for it. And also, it costs 150 sun to get a twin sunflower, so it's a lot less economical. But we do actually use the twin sunflowers on some of the hard, and I think maybe generally not the normal survivals. And so, in 100% runs, typically in 100% runs, we don't have enough money to buy it because we also have to, buy it. But for just all survivals runs, which is where we complete all the survival levels, you do actually end up seeing the twin sunflower for that space efficiency. But usually, with mini games or with any percent, it's just not quite efficient enough for us. The space efficiency that it provides is not worth the decreased sun efficiency and the recharge time.
So as we're getting here into Last Stand, I know that there already were, this is probably the mini game that has the most different strategies that kind of float about. There's an older one that uses cob cannons, more akin to kind of the survivals, and some of us use that. There's this one that uses glooms up front that is actually pretty tight with the amount of sun you end up using. And there's a lot of variants of this one. And then I know also we have one that's literally today that's one of the strategies people have been working on is trying out glooms, but supporting with torchwoods and repeaters. So there's just so many different ways to do this level and to do it within a similar kind of timing. So it's really exciting to see how these strategies have evolved in the community and how different people do end up playing this level. So this is definitely one. I personally have been using the cob cannon strats because that relies a lot more on rhythm and kind of making sure you're hitting the right timing so that you're not going too fast to use all your cobs, but you're getting the zombies very quick. This one's a little more consistent, but you do have to be careful to take care of your plants and make sure that their pumpkins don't run out.
Exactly. Yeah. This one's very interesting too, that there is a 50% rule. However, the game sort of, adds a little complicated factor to that it lowers the amount of time between each wave. So normally, again, there's a maximum of 25 to 31 seconds between each wave, but in this one they lower that down to just 7.5 seconds. However, with this setup that we have here, for most waves, we actually do 50% of the current wave's hit points in less than that 7.5 second maximum. So that's why you can see that we're so aggressive with all these gloom shrooms up front, because it does such tremendous damage to the zombies that they spawn faster than they would if we sort of just let them appear, sort of as they would more casually on screen. So there is more risk to this. You'll see sort of throughout the course of the run, we have to repair the pumpkins a little bit. We have to sort of reactivate our Tango Kelp, which again gets its first love at this point in the run. But other than that, it's again, it's all about, just again, making sure that we have the dooms alive. And money is actually, by money, I mean sun, is very, very tight on this level. If you're playing it optimally, you'll use just about every bit of sun that the game gives you without much margin for error. We were going to play it a little bit safer, again, here in a marathon setting than, I might do in a casual setting. But, again, the strats have really evolved over time. But again, even as early as, as earlier today, we already have runners that are theorizing potential improvements to the setup that we have right here to do even more damage to the zombies even quicker.
I think you said. Oops, sorry, you go for it.
You can go for it, super.
It wasn't. I was just said. I heard more say casual setting, and I assumed that you meant like actually grinding attempts, versus like, you know, because I feel like most casual players would probably not be using this exact setup here. It's a little bit more difficult to execute, but yeah.
Yep. We once upon a time had a really cool setup where we would use the garlic on this level and basically just push all the zombies in the rows that the glooms weren't in, and then set up like a long row of glooms rather than like a tall column like this. And that was a lot of fun. But again, because we weren't doing damage to the waves as quickly as we could, you know, again, there was certainly a worry that you know, it wasn't as fast as it could have been by, believe it or not, about a minute or a minute and a half. Even though sort of on the surface it looked like it was a you know, it looked like it was something that should be very fast and very safe.
I don't believe we've quite talked about the imitator as a plant yet, have we?
You gotta love the imitator. It's worth every penny that Crazy Dave sells it for in the shop.
30,000, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it's like it's something ridiculous. It's 30,000 of the like in-game currency.
Yeah.
But you can use it to basically double up on any plant that you want to. So like in this level, we're using it for pumpkins, and we use it in a couple other ones for pumpkins. You saw it in Zombotany. For sunflowers, I know coming up in bobsled, we'll be using it for jalapenos. It's very good because it gives you the flexibility for these plants that you really need. Like in this level, you need to be replacing these pumpkins. It gives you there's a small delay on when it will actually transform into what it needs to be, but it really ends up helping to reduce, basically, you can think of it as like cutting the cooldown for that plant in half. So you just, in a speedrun setting, when everything's going so fast, it's so essential to be able to have them to help you out.
Yeah, and the cooldowns are something that, you know, we hadn't talked too much about. Basically, there are 3 cooldowns in this game. There's the fast cooldown, which is just 7.5 seconds. There's the medium cooldown, which is what the pumpkin and like the squash have. That is that's 30 seconds, and then 50 seconds for the very strong, powerful plants like the Doom. You know, we one of the reasons we take the certain plants that we do is not necessarily that they're better, but basically we're able to incorporate its cooldowns, you know, to the greatest effect. So, for example, one of the reasons that we take the Chomper is it's sort of in every way worse than the squash. It's more expensive. It can only hit 1 plant versus the squash can hit 2. It's more vulnerable to being attacked by zombies. However, it's the only instant with a 7.5 second cooldown. So I know for me, I would almost never, you know, when I first played through the game, I'd almost never use the Chomper. But in a speedrun setting where basically you can instantly kill a very dangerous high hit point zombie on something that just has a 7.5 second cooldown, you know, you can very quickly see where something like that sort of, you know, is definitely going to get built into our run. And there's also sort of a lot of like, we haven't talked about it too much, but there's sort of very small, what I call like micro RNG in this run. For example, the sunflowers produce sun at a pretty constant rate, but the first sun that they generate is either after just 3 seconds or after 12 seconds. And we'll actually sort of get a pretty good example of that in bobsled coming up here relatively soon. There's also a little bit of variation in the in the sun production after that, and a couple of, again, like very, very small things that, you know, you would almost never notice casually. But in a speedrun setting, we certainly we certainly do notice, and we've actually gotten a little bit of access to the game's source code. Once upon a time, one of our runners found a way to access the game's source code and was able to sort of confirm some of the
specifically.
Yeah, from the web.
A little bit interesting because the web version doesn't have everything, so we only know things that are shared between the web version and this.
Exactly. So they looked into the web version and sort of confirmed things like, oh, like the 50% rule. Like we sort of understood, like, yes, the faster that you kill the zombies, the faster the next wave will appear on screen and so forth and so on. But it was really cool to like get the actual numbers behind it as well as the probability behind it. So again, like sometimes the game will spawn the next wave if you've done even as little as 35% of the current wave's hit points. But there are other times that it makes you do all the way up to the full 50%. of the current wave's hit points. So again, all those things together like really are what make the run so unique. Again, like I knew that there was going to be either a Zomboni or a bobsled in this first row here, but I did not know with certainty, you know, which row it was going to be in, nor its speed. The zombie speed itself is another thing that has to do. It's a small micro RNG. And again, to a casual player, it may not look like there's a whole lot of difference, but the difference between this very slowest zombies and the very fastest zombies, believe it or not, is almost a factor of 2. A normal, if a zombie's average speed is a speed of 1, the slowest zombies move at a speed of 0.7, and the fastest zombies move at a speed of, I believe it's 1.3. And so as a result, again, that difference between that 0.7 and that 1.3 is pretty significant. You know, needless to say. So again, it's all those like cool little mini micro RNGs that like sometimes the speed of the zombies matter. We either want them to appear on screen faster, or we don't want them to appear on screen as fast. So again, like what makes this game so beautiful of a speedrun is that you have to sort of take all of those little things into account. This could actually be very bad. I just realized this is.
Oh yeah, that's scary.
This
so this level in particular.
It has a specific strategy.
Very interesting strategy. I believe May indicated that she wanted to speak about it, so I'll definitely pass the torch over to you. But this is also one of my. I've seen some people in chat talk about it. This is one of my favorite strategies. It's a very, very interesting one. Although it'll be interesting to see exactly how Warmex sets it up here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So generally, we kind of actually end up doing a manipulation a bit of the RNG here. Well, in a way. So the reason you can kind of see that Warmec took a bunch of instant plants is that's Zomboni on top.
Unlucky. That was the only row where that could have notched. I almost would have dug up that spikeweed.
Yeah,
and that definitely would have dug up that potato mine.
I really thought about it, to tell you the truth. This is getting more awkward by the minute for sure, but I think we'll be okay.
I think when you get a Zomboni, you basically have to just no matter where it is,
dig it up. Yeah,
dig up whatever's there.
So generally what you see now that Warmec is getting a bunch of normal zombies, if there is ice on the field, that is at least one square long. There we go. Perfect. We're going to start seeing it now. Normal zombies will not show up except for on the large waves. So you will continuously get Zombonis and bobsleds. And that is really nice because because once you can get that going, you start hitting that 50% row really fast, either by popping the tire on the Zomboni super fast, or every time the bobsled zombie gets out, like they'll go down the row in their bobsled, and then once their bobsled actually disappears, that triggers a 50% roll, because that counts as half of their health. So generally you're going to have some spikeweeds down on that one little row, like Warmec's doing in there, and that'll take care of those bobsled zombies. And then on the other rows, the Zombonis are just getting hit one by one with these spike rocks. So now we've got it all set up. Now it's a lot more fun to look at. It's very fun to watch.
Now it's very, very satisfying. You will just see zombies come on screen and zombies leave the screen.
It's really, you'll notice we actually take none of the pea shooter line, anything that does any kind of traditional DPS at all on this level. It's all about satisfying these 50% rules through the spike rock and through the manipulation that we do of the bobsleds, where we basically let these bobsleds just sort of walk to their death on the spike reed. You can see again every time, look at how quick all these waves are. Like less, 3-4 seconds there, next wave's going to appear. 3-4 seconds right here, next wave's going to appear. So although the setup certainly takes a lot more time than some of the other setups that we do, these waves are so fast and so easy and so consistent that again, there's really, we're left in a position where it's like, okay, we really have to do this strategy. There's no alternative.
Yeah, once it's been really set up like this, you only really need to worry about those 9th waves, because you do have to hit that 100%, like you have to kill that whole wave to get the big waves again. And just making sure that you do catch those zombies in the Doom, the normal ones that do come in the big waves. But yeah, Warmec's definitely got it like in a rhythm right now.
Oh yeah.
Is that one little straggler that walked a little too slow on screen.
we hate those stragglers, but it would be bobsled bonanza if there wasn't some little some little tweak we had to make. Again, you can see like this level has 40 waves. It's one of the longest mini games in terms of numbers of waves, but we can usually complete it in about 7 minutes or so. Where again, normally, I know for me, I actually couldn't figure this level out for a long time when I was playing through the game for the very first time. Had no idea, I'm like, how do you deal with all these bobsleds and this and that? And I think I eventually kind of worked through some kind of makeshift strategy, but what we do here is just much more beautiful.
I think now would actually be a good time to say that if you are enjoying this speedrun, please make sure you follow Warmac Gaming here on Twitch and our commentators as well, Alexame and A Super. Thank you guys so much for being here. Again, you're all doing a wonderful job.
Thank you very much for having us. It's been a blast so far.
Again, we are so thrilled to be able to share our game, as I'm sure all runners are, but we're so thrilled to be able to share this game. And, hopefully we figure like, even if one person sort of like looks at this and is like, wow, like I couldn't believe you could speedrun Plants vs. Zombies. Like there's so much that goes on behind the scene, even if it only makes that difference to a couple of people that sort of get into the game and like really appreciate sort of the beauty of the speed run and the mechanics and all the little things that kind of come together to make this game as great as it is. Like this whole thing will be worth it. So thank you all so much for hosting it. Again, it's a great speed game, and we're so thrilled to be able to share it in this way and be able to support the Games Done Quick mission. So thank you.
Aw, thank you.
This level is sort of one where Warmac will probably have to focus a little bit more, so I can try to take some of the commentary off of his hands. Although he has actually been having, an additional amount of practice with it, because Warmac does not only speedrun Plants vs. Zombies 1, he also speedruns its sequel, Plants vs. Zombies 2. And Plants vs. Zombies 2 sometimes gets a little bit of, criticism for some of the decisions that EA made in terms of microtransactions for the game. But it is still a very interesting speedrun in a very different way than the first one, since the game sort of balanced around, you spending money, but spending money is banned in Plants vs. Zombies 2 speedruns, of course, because that would be incredibly unfair. Instead, a large part of the difficulty of the speedrun is actually completing all the levels at all, because some of them get very, very difficult. And so the reason why I bring that up specifically is because there is a Begooled variant in the second game, and this looks like this level went very, very well.
Yeah, very fast. I was gonna say.
The practice paid off.
The practice really did pay off. My second or third best time ever. So I'm glad I was able to not embarrass myself too badly with my bejeweled, or should I say begooled, strategy there. I love the puns with some of these mini games. They're super, super, super clever. One of my very favorite things about this game is sort of the cleverness, the plant puns and things like that. Just the fact that like the game is very well designed, but like still doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, just a true work of genius for sure.
I think another thing to note, I guess, as we're doing the Begooled levels right now, is that we also have a big community that will do individual minigame levels.
Yes,
and there are those leaderboards for it. And I think Begooled is one of the biggest examples of that, because I feel like for a lot of marathon runners, we have times that are like, around 2 minutes, and like the Begooled IL time, I think, is 1:10 or something crazy like that, where they are
very, very fast. Yeah,
they're zoned into it. They're very on top of it.
Yeah, so if you're interested, if you're watching this and any part of you is like, hey, I didn't think that Plants vs. Zombies was a game that you could speed run, but maybe you're not interested in running, an almost two hour long category, or I mean, any percent's like 3.5 hours. There is still plenty of opportunities with the, all puzzles is a great category. It's only around 15 minutes or so, and plenty of other ones. For basically no matter whatever you are looking for, this game will probably have a category that will suit your needs. And we have an extremely active community that we've been building up over the 3 years that I've been here, it has basically gone from virtually 0 people at all until Warmack kind of showed up on the scene, and he's definitely played a huge part in making it what it is today. So,
super flatters me too much. It really has been a community effort. There was one point where, believe it or not, in all the different categories that we had world record holders, either in an IL or a main category. We had 20 different world record holders from a dozen different countries. And that just that makes me so happy. It's not just a game, that for where a couple of people just sort of, own the leaderboards. It's truly, you may have just a handful of skills, like maybe you're just a good Be Ghoul player, or maybe you want to grind out one of the all luck mini games, like Slot Machine. You have that perseverance factor to do that. But again, really, whatever your skills are, whatever your time commitment is. Again, the shortest IL we have is only about 2 minutes. And the longest category, 100%, is 8 hours. So whether you like short games, long games, or really anything in between, PVZ has something for you for sure.
We've kind of hit now at the tail end of our run. These are the levels that are pretty consistent. You're not gonna lose minutes on here unless you make a major mistake generally. But there's always still little golds that you can improve here. I've had a PB where I dragged it back from red on these little levels by making sure you count your waves and all this kind of fun stuff.
This specific one can be a little bit annoying because basically the entire, it may look a little bit complicated, but really the only thing that actually matters in this level is whether you're able to get the cherry bombs out on the 9th, 19th, and 20th, 29th and 30th waves. And so making sure to count your waves is extremely important here. I'm usually very bad at counting waves. I usually slack off heavily on it. But for this level, I make sure to do it because it really is that important. So it looks like, things do look kind of crazy with these little zombies, but ultimately everything is actually sort of under control. Because the 50% rule here on this level it's one of the levels I think Warmack has mentioned where they basically reduced the timer from where it just automatically satisfies the 50% rule for you from 25 to 31 all the way down to, I believe it's 7.5 seconds. And so while you can use a cherry on the intermediate waves and speed it up a teeny little bit, by about a second or two, really the 9th waves are almost entirely, what matters here.
Ooh, I must have missed a couple of those guys at the very end. Well, that's all right. Yeah, so again, this level is, deceptively, even though it should be one of the most consistent levels in the run. Again, you're always behind, it feels like, on one type of plant. Either you don't get cherries, or you don't get walnuts, or you don't get pea shooters. And we're so needy here in Plants vs. Zombies. We just want it all. We want it all, and we want it right now. We want it up front. And we never seem to get that on this level. So there's definitely a lot of kind of decision making. All right, do I sacrifice a row here? Do I use an early cherry? What are the risks if I don't get another cherry? So again, all those things are little decisions that we have to kind of incorporate to just to make sure that this level doesn't get away from us too badly.
Yeah, I think this has actually been one of kind of a more stressful one that I've seen. Not getting quite enough walnuts in the pool there.
This level does have an adventure mode counterpart being level 3-5, and level 3-5 is a lot more stressful than this level because you actually do have to worry about that money, whereas here, we can let as many lawnmowers go and it won't matter too much for us. I almost would have let that second row go with the football because it looks like those zombies might take a little bit to die. But maybe not now. Whatever.
They're kind of. The tiny guys are really speedy.
They are pretty speedy. Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we're going to lose about 5 seconds here at the end. That's a sad story. But again, for the most part, this level usually doesn't vary by more than maybe 10 to 15 seconds, something like that. So it's so again, we won't complain too much. We've really gotten past the most dangerous levels that I was the most worried about for the marathon setting. So again, this is sort of what we were saying, where the run sort of gets into cruise control a little bit. There's certainly time to be saved or lost with any of these levels, but for the most part, there's they're a little bit more consistent. They're certainly safer. I have not, hopefully not embarrassed myself with a death in the marathon setting. So, really when it comes down to it, what else can you ask for?
So this level in particular, you might think that, with the imitator and its ability to duplicate, any plant you want, the most useful plant to duplicate would be the star fruit. But actually for this level, the math sort of works out the best that if you use the imitator sunflower to really get all that sun production out as fast as possible, then things work out the best. Because we really just try to get to 12 sunflowers here, and then when you do that, you're going to be able to basically plant a star fruit as soon as its recharge, recharges, I guess. And so all the other plants besides the first 4 that Warmech has picked here are just junk. Like, we're not going to use any of them. But the puff shroom actually does prove to be useful for stalling these zombies here, without costing us any sun. So yeah.
I'm actually surprised how good an angle for that star fruit that was. Just like it was suddenly hitting both zombies. It was very good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it feels really good when you can line up the star fruit to hit 2 zombies at the same time. It's one of those little things that bring me great joy with this game, Again, the star fruit unfortunately doesn't get too much. Really, the problem with the star fruit is, although it's very powerful and technically its DPS is one of the highest per its cost of any plant, part of the problem is just the inconsistency with, in the zombies that it hits. It will usually only hit a zombie about 2 or 3 times, and you can see right there, none of them were able to hit a zombie. So with the starfruit, there's almost this critical mass of them that you need, but for the most part, in most of the levels in the categories that we run, you really can't get to that critical mass quickly enough for it to be worth it. So again, some of you might have been playing being like, oh, the starfruit was so powerful, you can cover the entire board, it looks great, and you're definitely right, but for the most part, it's very, very difficult to get there in a speedrun setting, and we're sort of limited by sun production, we're limited by its cooldown, and so the starfruit, we just haven't quite found a place for it in any of the main levels yet, again, aside from levels like this where you're either forced to take it or there's really no other option.
Mm-hmm. All right, looks like we're rounding off this level nicely. This is one of the few levels where it's actually a little bit more optimal to play on the Xbox. Misclick there.
You guys can see what I'm going to be doing right now. Not to interrupt you, Super, but I have an important prop that I have on stream on stream, and this is not a traffic cop. This is a cone head, and specifically those of you that have watched Up and other movies, it is a cone head of shame. And given how few levels we have left, I'm going to keep on this cone head of shame for the rest of the level. Anytime we do something very, very, very silly, that again is completely within our control, or something where the game just completely trolls you and brings you shame, the Conehead of Shame makes an appearance, usually for just one level. But I feel like you guys, we're considering the audience that we have right here, I think the Conehead of Shame is warranted for the rest of the run, which is hopefully only going to be about 5 minutes here. But the Conehead of Shame has made an appearance. I thought I'd be able to sort of escape this run without needing to use it, but nonetheless, here we are. I hope I don't lose one of these zombies. I really shouldn't. Yeah,
they're really slow with the sun today.
Yeah, they especially in that third phase there. That was kind of a rough one. What we actually sometimes try to do is, again, this isn't to be cruel and unusual. We try to sort of maximize the amount of time that we can spend without needing to feed the zombies, because it does cost 5 sun in order to feed them. So you want to get the most value that you can out of each of those brains. That's really the only skill component. The rest is just all luck. There are it is fairly luck based. How fast the zombies produce sun. and everything thereafter. So usually we go for about nine zombies. This time I'm going to go for 10 just because, why not?
Safety,
So
what I was go for it.
No, go right ahead. Yep, and then the rest of it is just keeping the zombies alive till we reach our goal, which is 1,000 sun. Yeah.
So what I think an important thing to address is definitely the version differences in this game. And what I was saying about seeing stars was that it's actually one of the few levels where it's faster to play on Xbox 360 because you're able to optimally, using the controller, plant those the star fruit right away. And so, interestingly enough, the console versions and the PC release are very, very similar in terms of speed. We have different subcategories for each of them, but because of the controller, and also because of the fact that you actually can't see, your sight is a little bit more limited in the Xbox 360 version because you can't see the zombies until they come out of the bushes. It ends up being a little bit slower. And then the other two versions, DS and mobile, DS holds a special place in many people's hearts, but ultimately is not really the best version to play this game on. And it has a bunch of its own quirks. It's about 40 minutes slower, and it has some exclusive mini games, but it's interesting. And then the mobile version is basically the same as PC, except for the fact that for some reason they just decide to slow down the pace of the game in general, so that also ends up being slower. So really, PC is generally considered to be the best version to play the game on, but ultimately, I mean, it's really whatever you want. Like we are always interested to see new console and new DS runs, and also new mobile runs, of course, as well. So basically, whatever you can play the game on, we are happy to see it.
Yeah, the PC version definitely probably has the highest level of optimization, but that sort of just means there's a lot of area for improvement, and some of our we do have sort of separate sub leaderboards for each of the each of the consoles in which it can or each of the platforms that it can be played on, and so top runners may not want to grind because, again, objectively some of the other versions may be slower, but there could be there's sort of different mechanics involved. They did change up some of the rules a little bit, particularly in the DS version, where they sort of changed they changed some hitboxes. They changed sort of some of the delays. There's a little bit more transition time between each of the levels, and those things all together really can come into play. And the DS version sort of has it has an even goofier charm, just kind of given some of the limitations of the DS itself. So again, there's definitely those other versions tend to have the most opportunity if you're kind of looking to come in and sort of find a niche, and you feel like I may not be able to be competitive with PC. Not that should ever be a reason to not pick up a game, but again, the one thing I'd say sort of as we finish out Whack-A-Mole here, obviously in addition to the huge amount of thanks to Games Done Quick for hosting us, as well as to the great commentary that I got from Super and Alex and May. Thank you both very much. It's just that you may be sort of looking at this and kind of get the impression this looks really easy, this looks sort of so unoptimized, any fool could do this, right? But again, I would say just a word of caution that like anything, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes, and I wish I could sort of talk to you as I get a diamond drop here, just for good measure. I wish I could sort of go into all the decisions that I made, which ones were right, which ones were wrong, which ones I was sort of maybe relying on a certain thing that was probably going to happen, and whether it did and whether it didn't. So for example, in any percent, we estimate that in the 3.5 hours that it takes to beat the game normally, the runner makes 5,000 unique decisions, plus or minus a little bit. And really, when it comes down to it, you could be not very good mechanically, and in fact, I kind of joke, I don't actually think I'm very good at video games, even though for a while, I've had some a handful of top times and even some world records in Plants vs Zombies here. But it really boils down to, again, like who has that good kind of analytical mind for making the decisions. How much time are you willing to put into it? How much do you sort of learn, like, what can happen versus what will happen, and everything like that. So again, I've put about 1,500 hours into the game, and like I've never been bored with it for a second. I absolutely love the game. I really recommend it if you sort of feel like you're one of those people that, like, yeah, maybe you could never be like a SMB or Super Mario 64 runner. There's no frame perfect tricks. There's no like crazy difficult to execute glitches. There's nothing that, again, whether you're age 8 or 88, that in theory you wouldn't be able to do, sort of, if you just had like the right mind. And again, a little, obviously there's some pointing and clicking, right? I'm not saying that there's no like physical skill with the game, but it's all about the decision making, and that is what really makes it a one of a kind game. Whether you're doing mini games or any percent or puzzles or survivals, there's long runs, there's short runs, there's the different versions. So again, really, no matter what you're into, I really, really highly recommend, checking out the game, giving it a try, because it is a beautiful game, and even more beautiful speed game that is truly, it's not even like any other tower defense games or other strategy games that are out there. Even like with like a Tetris, like that's sort of a similar sort of thing, but eventually you can learn all the patterns. Like we describe it like in a typical like 10 wave level, there's at least 5 to the 10th different possibilities of what zombies can appear in what rows. So and there's no way that you could ever possibly calculate like what zombie, like what's the optimum way to play. You get a zombie here in the first row, then you get a zombie in the fourth row, then you get 2 in the third row, and like you can sort of quickly see where like just exponentially things become difficult. So instead you have to learn, how do you make decisions, how do you deal with the current wave while still dealing with the future waves, to a good enough extent. And again, it's an absolute masterpiece. I highly recommend checking out any of the streamers, as well as our Discord if you're interested in learning a little bit more about it. We have great resources. We have the code, some of the code. We have tutorials, and again, a very, very open and willing community that is like so open, so welcoming, so supportive. Again, like it's really for me, like kind of given like giving me something to do, like during quarantine times and things like that like has just like brought brought a lot of joy to my life. And I know the other people that have either run the game or watched it as well. So again, with that, a final time of 1:45. Again, considering that I did not do much grinding for Slot Machine and I lost about 4 minutes to my PB on Slot Machine alone, I'll consider this a success. Well, there was
no deaths.
Yep, no deaths. And believe it or not, compared to my PB, really dating, kind of going all the way back to around the Invisigoul Zomboss time, I really didn't lose too much time compared to my PB on the whole. So, and again, that was sort of with adding in a little bit of safety. So again, like I love this category, but there's a lot of great categories out there. And so again, I think I really feel like, again, even though we've had a lot of like very bright, very motivated people that have kind of dove into this game, I sort of in some ways feel like we're just like in that Renaissance era. We've sort of just begun to like fully explore like all that this game has to offer, as well as PVZ2 and some of the sequels and things like that. So with that, I don't know, May, Super, do either of you have any closing thoughts on either this run or just kind of PVZ speedrunning in general?
I think you really did a great job summarizing it there at the end. Yeah, it's been incredible to see this community grow as it has, and I do agree. I think that we are really, I think, just really right at the beginning of, I think, the sort of potential that we can see with it. And I mean, with Plants vs. Zombies 3 right around the corner, although I'm not sure exactly how optimistic I am will be that I am in terms of that game's a speed game. I do think that it'll at least perhaps bring some new members in the community, and I'm reserving judgment until it actually comes out. But it's really been great, and I think we have many more milestones ahead of us.
Yeah, I think I agree with all those points. As someone who's a little more newer to the community, I started watching everyone about last year, and then with quarantine, it kind of pushed me to be like, I wanted to speedrun, and I wanted to speedrun this game. And I love mini games. I love how many different categories there are in Plants vs Zombies as a whole. I feel like the community is super welcoming. There's so many tutorials and it's very accessible. Even as just a game, if you need to get it, it's like $5 on Steam and it's always on sale for less than that. So it's definitely a game that I think is worth looking into if you want to even just start speedrunning. And yeah, thank you to GDQ for having us here.
Yeah, thank you all so much. I honestly love the passion and enthusiasm that all of you have for this game. The whole community sounds so close, and I think that's amazing. It was an intense run, and Warmack, you did so well. Alxame, super. Thank you both for commentary. If you did enjoy the run, please make sure you follow Warmack Gaming, A Super, and Alxame here on Twitch. Also, shout outs to Warmack's mom if she's watching.
that was
We
gonna be my
did mention that she might be.
Exactly. Yeah. My mom, limited. We called it Nintendo time when I was very, very young. I had the original NES and then a Super Nintendo. Again, I know I'm dating myself here, but I had Nintendo time way back in the day. If my mom knew that I was sort of here for playing it either 2.5. 4 hours for 80%, or sometimes even 8 hours for the handful of 100%. I know she would sort of be, kind of face palming the whole thing. But again, I think games as a whole have sort of it's sort of very different than it was. Like I think back again in the 80s and 90s when I was very young, it was like kind of you could really only play by yourself, maybe your brother, your sister, or something like that. But now it's truly become a global thing, and I think like so many of us have grown up loving games that just the idea of like speed running, and then charity events like Games Done Quick that have sort of evolved from it. It's really a thing of wonder to sort of see where something that like maybe had a little bit of stigma, like only nerds do that, or kids getting beat up for owning a Nintendo, back in the 80s or something like that. Now again any kind of gamers, whether you play on your phone or computer, or you have the consoles or anything like that too, it's really become a lot more than that. So Mom, I'm sorry I violated my Nintendo time today. I'll make up for it tomorrow. I'll do the dishes or something. But that's very good. Again, thank you all again so much. Thank you, Super Alchemy, Smooth Operative, for organizing this, and Richard, you guys put together a tremendous event. Awesome. And again, I've been around since the days of Speed Demos Archive, and sort of was there, kind of watching some of the original clips of Games Done Quick. So it's grown into just such a fantastic event. I'm like on the edge of my seat, both for Summer's Games Done Quick and Awesome Games Done Quick. And I can't imagine, the hard work that you all have put into sort of turning this, event into something that's remote. So again, definitely, I'll be tuning in for the whole, for as much of it as I possibly can, or my work schedule allows. So, again, thank you so much for hosting us in our community. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah.
Oh,
thank you very much.
Thank you. And a reminder to everyone that tomorrow is the Hotfix Gauntlet, where we'll be having blind races in our invitational tournament. We are in the second round now, so come see who will make the winner's bracket top 4, 7 Eastern. And Thursday is the first step. Hobbs and Keys will be digging into Shovel Knight, King of Cards, 7 p.m. Eastern as well. So be sure to tune in for that. And thank you so much to all of our wonderful subscribers for making this Hotfix content possible. Again, thank you all so much for being here. We're going to get set up for our final run of the evening, Dragon Age Origins. Welcome back to Time Capsule here on the Games Done Quick Twitch channel, the show where we travel back in time to your favorite years in gaming and speedrun our way through popular or influential games during the time of their release. I'm your host, Smooth Operative. Thank you so much for joining us. And joining me right now are Lemira, ready to run Dragon Age Origins with commentary by Pestilus. Hello, gentlemen. How are we feeling?
Hi.
Hey, we're feeling great.
Excellent.
Yeah, we're feeling pretty good.
Say, I'm not putting words in your mouth, right?
No, I'm feeling great.
It's like confidence. Come on, dude.
Well, I am excited about this run. I have not played Dragon Age Origins personally, but I have always wanted to. So I don't know.
Don't worry, you'll have
this is gonna go, but
you'll have zero clue what's going on. It's going to be great.
You'll be in for a treat. It's gonna be great.
This run is an absolute riot. So speaking of absolute riot, Smooth Operative, we're making an elf. Name it.
Yep.
Oh no. Oh, what should I name it? Oh my god. I feel like so put on the spot. Can we name it Penelope?
Sure.
Sounds good to me.
Is that how you write it?
Anyway,
one N, right?
Anyway is fine. I'm open to whatever spelling that you feel like.
Sure, that works.
Yeah, good enough. So we're making an elf very intentionally because the elf has the highest magic stat in the game.
Yeah, so we dump the rest of our magic points into magic.
Yep, and we're
Just
going to
give ourselves as much power as we can early on.
We're going to get coercion and ice bolt and walking bomb, all good stuff.
Yep. Timer starts when I press OK. So 3, 2. Okay.
I do. 1 second, everybody. I did want to mention that if you are actually one second.
Penelope looks pretty relaxed, honestly.
They look like they're ready for a blast.
Penelope's chilling.
Penelope is a good name. Sorry, I think Richard and I are having a little bit of a miscommunication here, but I think whenever you are ready to go, you are free to say go when you're ready.
So I can count us down now?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. Don't worry. Timer starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
Alright, so welcome to Origins. We wake up and we're in a dream. So
Yep.
Pretty much instantaneously, all of these little brave guys we can kill in one hit. So the whole kind of gimmick of this game, the reason it's called Origins, is because depending on your race, and you can pick a race and a backstory for your character and character creation. And that decides where you're going to start the game. You go through an origin story for your character, where up to a certain point. It's like, say hi to a totally not demon. Don't worry, he's a mouse. He's totally a good guy. He's on our side. Don't worry about it.
Of course. It's a mouse.
But everything has their origin story. When you pick a mage, you are automatically given the mage tower origin. So we're in a dream. We're doing the mage origin here. We are not doing the mage origin because it is fast. The mage origin is the slowest origin story out of all of these. But the mage gives us some really, really good stuff we want. That's the first little dialogue option. Since this is an RPG, we have to pick specific dialogue options to do certain stuff, like have that guy not hurt us. We really don't want to deal with him. Now you can see some of the combos we can do with the spells we got. Walking Bomb is a damage over time effect, so it's going to kill that wolf eventually, and Frostbite can stun stuff, so that's cool. Say hi to this bear. If we used the right dialogue options, our demon who's a mouse is now a bear.
Which is very handy as long as their accuracy is on point, which I don't... It's very rare that he actually hits their targets, but...
As you can see in the bottom left, his name is Mouse, but he is in fact a bear.
Yeah.
But we're hoping that Mouse Bear can be helpful to us with all of these wolf spawns. We want him to basically attack whoever the Walking Bomb is not on. And
that was
there you go.
decent.
Yep. Pretty alright. So now we're going to fight the big bad demon that we need to conquer in order to pass our test to become a full-blown mage. And I mean, look at this thing. Like, there's fire and lava. And autosave is on for safety, don't worry too much about it.
Yeah, typically we don't really have it on, but
it's, you know, no resets. What can you do?
Yeah, we're just trying to be safe.
The demon's dead. Oh wait, no, the mouse was the real demon. And anyway, we told him to go away, so we're good now.
Is he alright?
So, first glitch of the game. This is the attribute glitch.
Hello, can my buttons work? There we go.
About to say, can buttons work? That's weird. So this is the attribute glitch. What we're going to do is we got 3 attribute points to level up. We're going to put all of them in And then when we hit reset, we're going to then underload the game by going backwards and taking away all those points we supposedly put in. And it will underflow the game, giving us a lot more attribute points and putting our constitution down to 0. And we can then do that again in exactly the same way, get even more attribution points. This will get us over 100. And then we're going to do it one more time, and we're going to end up with 600 attribute points in the first 5 minutes of the video game. Which, needless to say, you're not supposed to be able to do, but I mean, it's kind of helpful. We don't need health anyway, at all, for reasons that we are going to get into later.
Yep.
But, by the way, we're playing on patch 1.02.
No,
It's like this
1.01b is the one.
01b. Okay, yeah. So that one. It's like, this was patched later. Don't worry too much about it. But, yeah, we're underthrowing some attribution points. Technically speaking, our constitution at this point is like negative 1,000, but it's 0. It's fine. We're going to put all those points into a little bit of cunning for dialogue options, a lot of willpower for mana, and a heck of a lot of magic. We are going to kill some stuff with magic.
Yeah.
Magic in this game is real good. If you thought it was good casually, oh no, you haven't seen anything.
Yeah, when you get it stacked up to these numbers, it's
So
gonna be
500
ridiculous.
510 magic, that's just normal. Plus a vulnerability hex, which is really good. And now we're going to see our first teleport glitch. Did you want to explain that one?
Yeah, so you saw we just like casually walked through the wall there, basically. When you stand on an elevated surface, if you then right click off of it, it's supposed to move the character, but on this version it like just teleports you off of the surface instead, and we can abuse that and just teleport through walls instead. It's not every wall and stuff it works to go through, but most of them we can, as long as there is some kind of elevated surface in front of it.
Yep, as long as we're a different elevation to where we're trying to go and you can see where you want to click, the game's usually cool with it.
Yeah.
So we're just going to escort Duncan around. Like, in the story, we passed our harrowing, which means we're a full-blown mage, and everything's wonderful, and now, oh no, there's blood mages, or blood magic, or I don't even know, there's something going on with that. So we're concerned a bit, we're just running some errands to try to fix that up, talk to this guy, teleport through a wall, talk to the archmage, you know, the usual, as you do. Normal everyday mage stuff.
What we're really doing is that we're helping Joan and Lily, because Joan is getting paranoid that he is not gonna get his harrowing. So he thinks that the archmage and stuff are not planning on giving him his harrowing at all, and so he wants to escape. That's basically what we're doing now. But then we went and talked to the archmage about it, and he was like, "Yeah, go with the plan. We're gonna catch you guys red-handed, and you'll be fine." So.
Yeah, and there's like blood mages involved. It's a whole...
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing. It's like, I hear blood magic is bad. Also, we don't care much for blood magic. We just care for soul sapping magic. Is that what you call a walking bomb? I don't even know.
Sure. Why not?
Sure. So, another glitch here. We're going to do... Sorry, did you want to explain this?
Yeah, so this is the party member position glitch. If you move another party member far enough away, using hold position so that all of them hold their current positions, when they're far enough away, it's just going to teleport back to you instead of running, so that you don't have to like wait for the inconvenience of them to come back. But they like teleport to default locations around the character that you're on, and we can abuse that and just like go through walls. So we're going to do the same thing here.
And it is just the game acting like it's supposed to. Like, they just want you to conveniently get your party members back. The problem is, if you position yourself in certain ways, we can just manipulate them to go behind, for example, this locked door that we're supposed to watch some cutscenes and get some dialogue and story stuff before we get through. So, you know, details.
Yeah, that's the door we're supposed to be leaving out of instead.
Yeah, the door that we ran the MC to was pretty much supposed to be the door we went into, and then we get the key, we unlock this door, we get the blood, we see the blood made
Man.
stuff going on, yada yada. So
Only
some
one
walking
of-
bomb on those guys.
Damn it.
Walking bomb works both as a damage over time and and also it blows stuff up. It's a walking bomb, so stuff in the vicinity will die, which is helpful.
Yeah.
And but as we go through dialogue, about 90% of the dialogue in this game, we mash 1. That's all you have to do to get through it. There are a handful where we need to do specific inputs to avoid fights and go through quicker.
Yeah, because that's what's typical with a lot of RPGs, is that the dialogues you choose doesn't really matter that much unless it's like specific situations. But now we've left the Mage Tower.
Yeah,
So,
now we're going to become a Grey Warden, which, basic, like, bad guy slayer, more or less. And please teleport, please teleport, please teleport, please teleport, please teleport, please teleport, teleport.
So,
please, 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 please. We don't know how this works, by the way. We have no clue.
Come on.
But when he gets it, he'll look cool. Come on, wiggle, wiggle, Penelope, wiggle. I believe in you, Penelope.
This glitch has been so rude to me this last few days. It just doesn't want to work.
Come on, Penelope, please. I believe. I believe. Come on. Literally, he's doing everything right. He gets in the corner and wiggles. We have no clue how this works. There we go.
If you get that instantly, that saves 20 seconds over walking over the bridge normally. But they decided they didn't want to this time. But yeah, we don't really know why that glitch works. But if you wiggle in that corner, you get teleported to the dialogue with the Mabari dog handler. Yeah. And now we picked up Alistair, and he is supposed to be important, but you'll barely see him during the run. So
yeah, Alistair's not that important. He's just kind of here.
Yeah.
But don't ask me why that specific spot teleports you to that specific dialogue. I have no idea. Like, we've tested basically everything we can think of to figure out why that works. We got nothing.
Yeah.
We got absolutely nothing.
Yeah, we opened up the game files and tried to figure out what was going on, and it just made us more confused, really. So
as Lem takes on some wolves, we'll do a brief lore update. We were kicked out of the Mages Guild because blood magic and other nonsense. It's like we were framed, essentially. And we were taken in to be a Grey Warden. Grey Wardens are the protectors of the realm from Nightspawn, who are evil orc doer
Darkspawn,
thingies.
not Nightspawn.
Yeah, Darkspawn. I said Darkspawn.
No, you said Nightspawn.
So we're to be initiated into being a Grey Warden who can actually beat the Archdemon and stop the Blight and stop like these guys invading. We need to drink Darkspawn blood. So Duncan gave us a quest to do 2 things. Thing number 1, get Darkspawn blood so we can drink it. Thing number 2, get treaties from all of the races and all of the world that say in the Grey Warden's time of need they'll come and help us. So we did part 1, we have our blood vials, and we're going to go say Duncan, hey dude, we got our blood vials. And Duncan's going to say, cool bud, but you don't have our treaties, go out and get it. And we're like, sucks, thanks. But we do get our EXP from telling Duncan that. And then we can do it again. And again. And again.
As much as you want.
Yeah.
It's gonna be ridiculous.
Lem cannot talk during this because he has to mash.
Yeah.
If you want to close your eyes for a bit, I'll let you know when he stops mashing this. But he's mashing the dialogue option plus right click at the same time. He's trying to keep a very close eye on the level up meter in the bottom left hand corner. He wants to get to level 12 is what we're aiming for. But all we've done is we've completed 1/2 of a quest, and because it's not complete, the quest is still going. And because we did 1/2 of the quest, they'll give us EXP. So we're just like, hey bud, hey bud, how you doing? You give me the trees yet? Nope, cool, bye, thanks bud, I love you, bye. You'd think Duncan would get real annoyed at this after a while. But no, he's a cool dude. He's just fine with it.
There we go.
He's like, just look at Alistair. Alistair, what do you do with the bee-bud? Okay, you can look now. So now that we're level 12, we're going to get all our charisma. We're going to get the shapeshifter skill, get as much of that as we want, and we're going to do a specific glitch here. We cast Anti-Magic Ward, then we transform into a swarm of locusts, and ta-da, we are now a swarm of locusts, but we are also a human being. Yeah. You can see in the bottom left that the swarm of locusts buff is actually active, but because the Anti-Magic Ward was cast beforehand, we are not physically a swarm of locusts. So we have the benefits of that, but we're still human, don't have the downsides. The downside's supposed to be that you're not a human, so you can't pass spells and do other things. But the advantages are you run faster, you deal damage to enemies that are around you, because you're a swarm of locusts and being around you is a bad idea. And you do not take damage to your HP, you take it to your MP. And if you remember, we have tons of MP, we have no HP. So this is all very, very convenient. Plus, we got a haste spell, so that's also convenient.
Stacks on top of it. The other positive thing that we're taking damage to our mana now instead as well is typically it actually works as intended, because normally when you are in the swarm, if you take the damage or if you lose all your mana, you will get knocked out of your form. But since we don't have a form to get knocked out of, we never stop taking damage to our mana instead.
There is no disadvantage to the current state that we are in. The only disadvantage is there are theoretically a couple enemies that can hex us and stop us from being in this form. That's it.
Yeah.
None of those guys show up in any percent, so we are good.
Yeah, exactly.
We are in there. So we completed our quest for good old Duncan. We got the treaties that we were supposed to get. That say, hey, in your time of need, all these human races will come help you. We'll honor these treaties. Thanks, bye. So now we're going to turn him into Duncan, is what I would say if we cared, but we don't. So we're going to run straight past him. And you're supposed to talk to him, then cutscenes play of a battle going on, then you cross the bridge, and the bridge explodes, and then there's a bunch of darkspawn in this area across the bridge. We don't want to deal with that. So we just go up here, go over here, do a little teleportation glitch, and we don't have to fight anything. We can go... Yeah, it's perfect. It's great. We could just go into the tower that we're supposed to be in.
Yeah, we were supposed to, drink the Darkspawn blood and actually become wardens too, but...
Yeah, we're technically not Grey Wardens, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, also, we have two party members who are supposed to be dead. As in, they're supposed to drink Darkspawn blood and die in front of you. They're kind of alive. The game doesn't know what to do with them. They're going to be very helpful for us.
Yeah, they're just gonna always be in your party. Unless you kick them out, which we don't want
to. Which is very, very convenient. We do not want to kick them out. Davith is a bro. He helps us out a lot. So there's a couple floors in this tower. First floor, we just run over here, get some Darkspawn to come to us. As you can see, we are in fact a swarm of locusts, and things do in fact get hurt when they stand near us. So
we took advantage of the pathfinding to make them all come to us instead of having to kill them one by one.
Yep. Don't worry, we are totally a swarm of locusts, and it's fine. It's intended.
We're totally doing the tower the intentional way.
Oh yeah, this is 100% intended. Like, this is a walkthrough. There's nothing glitchy or grog about any of this. So you can see the loads getting really bad. Teleport glitch over here. The loads get bad because there's memory leaks in this game, and the memory leaks get real bad the longer the game is active.
It just gets worse and worse the longer it goes. If you just let it go, the game will crash. You can't actually play a full run of this game without it crashing. It's just not possible. And here as well, we're gonna just stand here and turn into a bear. That puts us slightly out of bounds, and we can just teleport back here.
No, don't worry. For those 5 seconds, we are a bear and a swarm of locusts.
Oh yeah. The most powerful being there is.
A bear that is also a swarm of locusts.
Yeah.
So, if you played this game before, you remember this troll up here? He's the first big boss in the game, and he's real difficult. About that.
Kind of easy now because we picked up the vulnerability hex, and the way that works is it's tied directly to your magic stat, and because our magic stat is so high, we put him at minus 100% resistances. So
yeah, I'm not memeing when I say that boss is hard. That boss is legitimately hard casually. I'm really not memeing. That boss took me forever my first playthrough.
If you played it on easy, it was pretty easy. But other than that, yeah, on any higher difficulty, for sure.
So, our buds are hanging out with us. Watching us sleep, you know?
Yeah. They just want to watch over us. No big deal.
So, Lem's going to save the game and quit out here, yeah? To stop the memory leakage nonsense.
Yeah,
so
you can see the loading screens are getting ridiculous. It's not.
Yeah. This has nothing to do with the hardware. It's just the memory leaks are real bad.
Yeah. I am running this I'm running this game on an SSD. So yeah, I'm getting it as fast as I can, but it's not good enough to counteract it.
Then, so lore update. Essentially, there was a big battle with the Darkspawn, and what we were doing was going up in the tower to light a beacon to have Logain do a pincer maneuver in order to take out the Darkspawn. We did that. Logain did not do the pincer remover. The king died, Duncan died, a whole lot of people died. The Blight is overrunning the land, and Logain is now in charge of everything. And so things are real bad, basically.
Logain believes that it's all a hoax made up by the Orlesians, which is the country neighboring this one.
I swear I've heard that before. So, Davith, he's supposed to be dead. He's not, so we can use him to lockpick Sten out of here, which is real good, because we like Sten.
Yeah. Yeah, the other one we would have picked if we didn't have Davith would have been Liliana.
Yeah, and to get Liliana, we have to do the Mage Tower quest line, and that's real slow. We don't want to do it.
No, Liliana is just in the tavern here.
Oh, right, my bad.
Yeah, you just pick her up there.
Yeah.
You're thinking about Win.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
So we're going to go straight to good old Denerim over here. We're going to get an encounter before we get there. It's random what encounter we get. We always get an encounter.
Okay, this one is okay.
That one's fine. This one we can just leave.
Yeah.
So essentially, with the Darkspawn coming up here, we got these treaties that Duncan made us get earlier to have all the races help us in our fight against the Darkspawn. So what we have to do is we have to go to all these factions across the land, go to the mages, go to the dwarves, go to the elves, get them all to commit and honor these treaties in order to fight the Darkspawn menace. And yeah, we're done. We did it, guys.
Yeah. We totally collected all the treaties.
We collected all the treaties. They're all going to help us. It's all done, guys. It's totally done.
Oh, yeah.
Like, see? Logain's here, and he's real upset.
Our Lehman is supposed to be deadly sick. No, he's well and fine.
He's fine. So, nice thing. Another nice thing about Davith being alive is since he is alive and he's not supposed to be, he will always be in our party in places he's not supposed to be. Like,
yeah, so
there.
All solo instances, we will have him, and makes it a really quick way to just get out.
Yeah, we can use him there to stand by the door and just let us teleport out real quick, which is nice. And there are a couple other places he'll be very helpful.
Yeah.
So, for those keeping track at home, what the game thinks happens is the game thinks that we did all our treaties, and the game has put us immediately to the Arhal quest line, which is one of the last quest lines in the game. This is where we actually go after all the bad guys that started this mess.
Yeah, we're preparing to fight the Darkspawn now, essentially, but we have some final business that we have to finish up in Benrim before we can actually do that.
Yeah, like the fact that the Queen is kind of MIA.
Yeah, that's the one that we're going to find now. But coming up here, you can do a lot of things with the teleport glitch, and one of them is that we can stand on some things on the left side here and just like get out of. Sten, excuse me. Okay, that's rude.
Sten,
So you just stand
buddy.
on there, and then you can click out of bounds, which is also very helpful. We can just get to the like ending door here real quick and go through there and get down to Arl Howe so we can kill him.
There's Darkspawn here or something. I don't know.
No, there's just
Never
people,
seen him. I think
but-
that's a rumor. So our house down here, we just gotta beat him up real quick. It's like he's a bad dude. Don't worry too much about it.
He'll be surprised over how quick we came to him.
He'll be like, "Wait, you guys? What do you mean, you guys? You're supposed to be here in like 40 hours."
Yeah.
And this fight's pretty simple. The mages are annoying because they're not near us, so they don't
and they stun you,
yeah,
which sucks.
yeah. They don't get hurt by the swarm of locust thing. They're resistant to our magic, and they stun us, so that all sucks. But we'll get the key from Arl over here. Then we're going to make a couple rights, and we're going to find the queen. The queen is I'll let her location speak for herself.
She's enjoying her time.
I
is
mean,
what
she's
she is.
having. She seems to be okay.
Of course.
Mhm. I mean,
We just have
I've
to get to
seen-
the loading screens, which you know.
Yeah, details.
Always long.
Yeah, memory leakage are something.
Nobody expects the swarm of locusts.
Especially if they're disguised as a male elf named Penelope.
Yeah.
It's like, no
All
one
right, so
expects
we'll
that.
see the queen up here. As you can see, she was chilling inside the door.
Yep,
completely
as you
normal.
do. As you do when you are a queen.
And
mean-
then we got caught, and now we've been captured, and we're getting tossed into jail.
Oh,
So-
dang it, dude. You weren't supposed to get captured. It's like, what do
Yeah.
you mean you got captured? That's not in the route. What did you do, man?
That's okay. We have Davith. He will save us.
What do you mean you got captured? You're supposed to say hi to the door queen, and she's supposed to get you out. Come on, man.
It's not how it works.
That's how it works in my mind.
But
But,
you can see the
where to
loading
go?
screens in this game. It is atrocious.
Yeah, I
But-
don't think the game likes the fact that we're in jail either. These
who would win all the memory Dragon Age Origins or Google Chrome? It's a good question.
Yeah, Lem's computer can runs Titanfall at a couple hundred frames per second. This isn't the computer.
I don't think I run Titanfall at a couple hundred.
You run it good enough. So, we're in a prison.
now we just and then we
Yeah.
just use Sabbath to get out. We're going to the camp here to avoid some RNG encounters in Denerim itself, because now we don't have Sten, and we need him for a specific glitch if we do get an RNG encounter. So it's just how it is.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we're just gonna get back to Denerim ASAP.
It turns out it's very helpful to have a guy in your party member who is supposed to be dead.
Yeah.
I mean, he will literally just follow us to our deathbed. He just, if we don't tell him to leave, he just stays with us. Which, convenient.
Especially now we'll be going a few times into Arleman's estate, and we're going to go and talk to Arleman. So it saves us a bit of time just clicking back to Davith and going immediately out the door instead of having to run all the way down. Even though running isn't that bad considering how fast we are, but still, it's nice.
Yeah, and small little optimization is we only have Davith in our party, because after we leave this building, we're going to have to remake our party anyway.
Yeah.
So there's no
I was
reason-
supposed to restart my game here. Okay, I'll do
Oh,
that once I
that would
get inside
explain
here.
it. Yeah, do you want to do that real quick?
yeah. Once I get inside here, I'll do that.
I mean, there's a reason we do not time this game RTA. That would be pretty miserable, to be honest.
Hello, stop running. Okay, thank you.
He's going for it. Penelope's like, let's go.
Oh yeah.
No,
that's
he's
the
like, I'm
second.
speedrunning.
That's the second reset. So I usually restart 3 times. That works for me. Some people might find it works to restart more times, but But yeah, you find your own preference for that, really. It
Yeah, you
depends
just
how
have
long
to-
loading screens are you able to tolerate.
Yeah, because we do have a load remover, so those don't count in our leaderboard times, but they are a pain.
Lamura
yeah.
is a handsome ass lad.
Oh,
What the shit?
Yeah,
Oops, I had my my gold sound on. Sorry about that.
whoops. It's like, anyway, we have Sten in our party now. Sten is going to be real helpful if we get bad RNG here.
I am led to understand.
Yeah, we should be fine.
Dwarven.
Should be
Uh,
fine.
I forgot about this.
Meet me in the back alley. Behind.
Oh no, the
That-
guy.
Sorry.
No.
Okay, sorry. That was my mistake that my gold sound was on live split. Okay, I'm so sorry, but it happens. That was Bry's voice. So
I just
hey.
can't believe. I just can't believe you got a gold.
No, it missplit. The auto splitter didn't work.
Oh,
Um,
I was trying
Anyway,
to amp you
let's-
up, dude. But anyway, this ladder is it's doing what ladders do. You can step on it, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can step on ladders, and ladders give you elevation. And wait, what do you do? This isn't the ladder.
What? Of course, this is how you
It's like,
walk,
that's not
right?
what ladders do.
Of course it is. I don't know what you're talking about.
I
Ladders
played
make you go
Skyrim.
vertically.
That's definitely not what ladders do.
It makes you go vertically and then horizontally above water, right?
Walking on air, yeah, but well, I mean, we are a swarm of locusts, so maybe. It's like I can't explain teleporting through walls. So we got an encounter here. So you'll see our first use of Sten glitch.
No,
Or
'cause,
not.
I accidentally hit into the guy.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. So this is what happens if you accidentally talk to the guy in.
Oh well.
Yeah.
We'll talk to Sten later. There'll be plenty of time.
Very well.
That was fine.
It's like minor mistakes were made.
It happens.
Did you speak to that nonsense?
So we have to basically we were going to the alienage, which is segregation where the elves live in the city. It's like we basically got their support, said said like cool, we're buddies now. Now we have to go back, talk to this guy, and he's going to be like, oh, they're holding a vote right now on what we should do about the Darkspawn and making Loghain the king and blah blah blah. We're like, oh no, we can't have that. So we're going to
Yeah.
So we're going to put an end to that nonsense real quick. Oh, and also Alistair, who you have not seen in our party at all, is like the heir to the throne right now, technically speaking.
Yes.
So that's a thing. And he's forced to be in our party right now because of story.
Pretty much.
Like, we can't do anything about that. If we could kick him out, we would.
Yeah, we're
Why
gonna.
are we stopping?
Okay, well, I cleared the initial dialogue. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. You needed to talk to Sten anyway. He's just doing pure optimized strats.
Yeah.
So we're going to crash this party of them figuring out what to do about the Darkspawn, hit a little intimidation dialogue check. Then
And-
head on in. Or it's a persuasion check. My bad.
So many autosaves.
Yeah, we don't normally have these on, so this is cool. So head on in, skip a lot of stuff. We have to get Lofring to 0 HP twice. We get him to 0 HP this one time, then we're like, enough, let's settle this like men. And then you get a one-on-one duel, and this one-on-one duel just isn't fair.
We stomp on him. It's fine.
He's fighting Swarm of Locusts with a sword, dude. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, of course, the sword is just gonna go through us and not do any damage because the locusts are just gonna move out of the way.
of course. So he's down. Alistair is king. Woo.
Yeah, because we made him king after we killed Loghain.
And you can make Loghain king and also turn him into a Grey Warden, but then Alistair leaves and it's very sad.
Yeah, he leaves and becomes drunk in Kirkwall. Which is the next game.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna be picking up Death Siphon and Mass Virulent Bomb, which is like the upgraded version of Walking Bomb.
Yes.
Imp. And Death Siphon is just an AoE around us where we siphon MP off enemies that die.
Yeah. So whenever they get close to us, they do damage to our mana, then they die from us, our AoE. Then we take the mana back.
Yeah,
That way,
so
we guarantee we have at least some mana to cast spells, just in case.
we do not run out of mana.
Yeah, it is rare when it happens, but when it does, it's good to have that siphon.
So we're off to Red Castle because we were told this is where the final Darkspawn are going to be, and we have our final battle, and it's a trap.
Red Cliff Castle.
Red Castle, Red Cliff. It's red. There's a castle. There's a trap.
I mean, that is fair. That is fair.
There's a trap there. Insert your meme there. It's like you somehow avoided the encounter. Good RNG.
Yeah, that was really nice. I would like to point out I didn't have, other than that one Denrim encounter that I normally isn't supposed to get, I didn't have any of the other ones. So
yeah,
that's something.
So it is a trap for us to be in Red Cliff, but there are a bunch of Darkspawn here, so we should probably take care of that.
Yeah, the main reason we ended up going here is because the intel we had said that this is where the like majority of the Darkspawn was gonna get, but turns out we were bamboozled, and the mass amount of Darkspawn are actually headed towards Denerim, where we just were. So now we have to just like kill as many heroes as we can and get back to Denerim ASAP.
I mean, I would say it's a good thing we can run at the speed of sounds, but we have an even quicker way to get back to Denerim, which we'll worry about later. First, we have to take out some dudes. We keep the party by the door so they can delay these guys. We move them away so that they will just stops lag from happening when these guys come in. The big old ogre's going to spawn, and the big old troll doesn't really stand a chance.
Go. Again, vulnerability hex just like completely trivializes it.
Well, 500 magic helps.
It does.
A little bit.
It does.
You know, I hear 500 magic when you're at level 14, like, isn't terrible.
Pretty nice. Makes with the spells you get at level 14, then it's pretty good.
I mean, it's one magic for every locust in your swarm, yeah?
That works.
Just out of curiosity, what is the max level in this game?
I think in base game it was 20 or
20? Oh, okay.
I think.
But I think with the DLC it was up to 30, but that could be wrong. I haven't played it normally in such a long time.
Do we get to 20 locusts? That's the question.
No.
Sadly.
Shut down.
We end the game at 14, unfortunately.
Yeah, we don't level up anymore after this. So
Fair.
Hey, chat's telling me it's 25 in base, 35 in DLC. Thanks, chat.
Okay. Cool. That's the numbers. It was around the same point. But yeah, now that we're here at Red Cliff as well, now we're gonna go up and talk to this other Grey Warden that has arrived from Orlais, because he was able to sneak in. Originally, there was supposed to be like an army of Grey Wardens that were gonna come into Ferelden, but they were all turned away at the border from none other than Loghain. So now that this guy is here, this is the other Grey Warden. He tells us how we were actually supposed to defeat an Archdemon, and it turns out only a Grey Warden can kill an Archdemon, because the Archdemon's soul goes into something that has been tainted with Darkspawn blood.
And the bigger twist is when we kill him, we're supposed to die.
Yeah.
Details.
I mean, in this case,
something told us this earlier.
Oh, are we doing the Morrigan thing?
I don't know. Are we?
It is slower.
It is slower.
Honestly, whatever you think, use your own discretion here.
I like having Morrigan. It's fine. We will take her, even though it is slower. But at least, why not?
Yeah, why not? So we got to get back to Denerim real quick. It's okay. We don't have to run. We have a real quick way to do it.
Yes.
So we're going to talk to
I
Sten
see.
twice here. The first time, we're going to tell him to leave our party. And then the second time, we're just telling him to come back. And if we do that, this first conversation forces us out of bounds. And when we're out of bounds, we can teleport straight to Denerim.
Yeah, in this particular area, it forces you into the character selection screen, which then lets us go to Denerim. Now, the game is in a weird state where if you talk to any of the characters, it's gonna do the dialogue that would happen in Redcliffe, and we can take advantage of that. Because normally, when you go into the climax, which is what we're entering now, you wouldn't have any of your party members on you immediately until after the initial fight. But we can skip that because now the party members are with us. But first, I'm gonna restart the game one final time.
If we don't restart it before this, it will crash 90% of the time.
Yeah, almost guaranteed that you have to be extremely lucky for it not to crash then.
Also, remember to turn off autosave
Yeah.
and turn on VSync.
Yeah, so I'm turning on VSync to cap my frames. I don't need my autosave anymore now, because we should be pretty safe to go from here on. I'm turning on VSync to cap my frames, because it's going to make it trick easier. Now we're going to be talking to Morrigan, and normally that would initiate her conversation that you would have in Redcliffe, the one where she talks about her ritual and stuff like that. And that puts us here with our entire party.
Yep, so we're going to mash out a quick save real quick, and then do a quick load. And Lem's trying to pause the game at a very specific time. It's like a few frames, basically, in order to pause it out of combat so that we can talk to Sten, which again pushes us out of bounds. And when we come back in bounds, the game decides, oh, you hit the next trigger. Cool. Yeah. So we can just continue on our merry way.
Also, we just casually walk out again here. You know, you do that a lot.
You know, we could just teleport into a river. I mean,
the main reason it's slower to have Morrigan with us is because it gives us an extra party member to move. But we love Morrigan, so of course we have to show her the proper love.
Yeah. Also, we want our main guy to survive because Penelope's been too precious to kill, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we want our swarm of locusts to survive all this. But the reason we run these guys into the river is because we want them to be far enough away from any darkspawn so that we are out of combat. Because when we're out of combat, we can interact with this gate, and when we interact with the gate, we can leave.
And move on. So now we just move to the market. Fun fact, you don't actually have to do anything here. You can just walk back out, and that unlocks the next area, which is here.
This is like a whole big battle with tons of darkspawn, and you're seeing all these characters you help throughout the game, and you're helping them fight, and nah. Just nah.
Yeah, you see us doing. Oh yeah, we didn't explain the. Did we explain the conversation glitch properly? Yeah, we did. Okay, yeah.
Why do you?
I'm just misremembering.
Yeah, Sten glitch again, out of bounds, on the spot.
Yeah. So again, to clarify, you talk to him twice. The first time you make him leave, and then the second time we talk to him, whenever you talk to someone, it always teleports the entire party to where the dialogue is initiated. And in that case, it was out of bounds. So.
Yeah, so we're just going to run underneath the floor over here. And then the game's going to be like, oh no, you're not supposed to be underneath the floor. Here you go.
Yeah, we're on a time crunch. We have to kill the Archdemon.
I mean, we're a pacifist, but there's a big old demon causing a lot of problems, and we need him gone. So that is our main concern.
This is one of the skips that I'm very proud that I found, because when I first picked up the game, you had to do this fight, and that fight was kind of RNG.
This fight sucks a lot.
Yeah, but now that you can just skip it by talking to Sten, by pausing before combat, you can just go and enter the castle immediately. Or the tower, not the castle.
Yeah, he's actually has to do very specific movement in this fort in order to get back inbounds in the proper place. Because if he doesn't, then it's going to put us. It's going to literally put you where you can see the door you're supposed to be, but there's a wall where you can't get there, and it's very sad and depressing.
Yeah, you just look at it longingly, and it's like, what did I do wrong?
It is very meme-worthy. So, some
Okay.
positioning glitches. This one's very finicky. And of course, he gets the finicky one first try.
Yeah, that's because we have the entire party this time.
Oh, right. That does actually make it easier. I always
Yeah,
forget.
yeah. It's like 99% that you get through the door there with the entire party. Whereas if you were missing one, it's a bit less.
So, we're going to talk to our buddy Stead one more time here.
Yes.
Gonna bring him with us for the ride to the end.
'Cause
Although
the
now
reason
we don't need him anymore, but
we don't need him anymore. But the reason this is so helpful is because you cannot interact with doors or any of these major triggers when you're in combat. And we're not in combat and we're out of bounds.
so we can just
So-
walk to the end. I'm gonna
Helpful.
quick save here just in case, because sometimes it puts you into combat. Right, we are closing in on the end now.
Yeah, time
So
will be.
here's the Archdemon.
He shows up. Archdemon, real simple. Vulnerability hex, big walking bomb, small walking bomb, freeze him, arcane bolt him. He'll always go to this exact spot. We can run up, hit him a bit.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I've never had this happen before.
He'll fly
Excuse
to
me.
the left. I've never seen him stun you before. That's new.
Yeah, that was. Okay, and time. It's
Yeah,
dead.
time.
Okay, that's time. That's the game.
There's always got to be one never happened before moment, so I'm glad we could witness that.
Right. So here's the final cutscene, and you can the final cutscene. It's always the same killing animation with a two-handed sword.
Yep. Our 500 power mage that can slay the Archdemon in 5 spells just picks up a giant sword and goes for it.
Yeah.
Penelope
finish
was
it up.
just having a moment, you know?
Yeah.
He's in there. You know, we've all been there. And because we have Morrigan with us, nobody dies.
Yep. And no one knows why. Except Morrigan. And us, of course.
And I think there's DLC or something about it. I don't know.
Yeah, there is the DLC where you chase her, try and like find her and stuff. It's a good time.
Yeah, but it's faster to not have Morrigan, so it's faster for someone to die.
Yeah.
You can choose whether you die or Alistair dies, but someone dies.
Yeah. But this time I wanted Morrigan to be here to the end, so.
Yeah, I figured Twitch chat would like that.
But yeah, that was Dragon Age Origins. It's an absolutely amazing game. It is one of my favorite games.
It was
So
over.
I definitely recommend you guys to play it if you haven't.
With the
Yep, and as you can see, the speedrun is a riot. It is nonsense.
The wiggle strats, I think, are worth it even if you don't save 20 seconds.
Yeah, that's the like reset heavy point if you're going for world record
Yeah.
attempts. I feel like typically it has been nice to me where I've at least saved some time, but like these past few days, it's just been like, no.
Yeah,
It
marathon.
doesn't want to work.
Yeah.
It be like that sometimes.
Exactly.
It really do. So, but this game's awesome. If you have any interest at all in looking at the speedrun, we have a bunch of resources on speedrun.com. We got a video that explains all of these glitches and how they overall work. We have some notes overviewing the basic routes, both the newer stuff and some old stuff that's easier and can get you going.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and it's very, very easy to learn. There's just a little bit of technical glitches going on.
Yeah. Like it is like the same things over and over really, so it's not a hard speedrun to pick up by any means.
How long have you been speedrunning this game? Oh, this is for both of you, I guess.
I picked it up 2 years ago, I think is when I first started running it. But I began actively running it a year and a half ago, I think.
Okay.
I picked it up about 5 or 6 months ago, something like that.
Oh, okay, nice.
And it is a good time. Also, don't worry about the patches because you can buy the Steam version, and we have a down patcher that can get you where you need to be to do all the
Yes.
glitches and stuff.
I made that down patcher earlier this year when I figured out how you could do that. So
Oh,
that was-
this is something that needs to be done before you even attempt speedrunning, or it's not going to work in the same way, I'm
yeah,
guessing.
all the glitches are patched out on the newest.
Okay.
Almost all. There are some like technical tiny ones that wouldn't even be useful really. There is you can technically like level up a ton of levels on the newest patch using I think it's one of the trap quests or something in Lothering, but it only gives you like 50 XP I think per quest hand in. So if you want any significance after that, it's gonna take you forever.
Oh, fair. Well, please, everyone watching, if you did enjoy this run, make sure you follow Lemura on Twitch and Pestilus as well for commentary. You both did so well, and I really appreciate you being here and running this game. Thank you for humoring me with Penelope. That might have been weird. I don't know.
Hey, Penelope had a good time. See, Penelope's
liked it.
I'm gonna have to name my character Penelope now whenever I do play this game. But do you have any final words or shoutouts that you'd like to give before we wrap it up here?
Yeah, I'd like to shout out some few people if you don't mind that.
Of course, yeah.
I'd like to shout out Letters Words, David Wiki 8 and Bamsource, who are great people and members of the BioWare speedrunning community, as well as a big shout out to Fizzy, who has been working a lot on the auto splitter for this game, which he like finished 2 days ago. So that's great. And of course Pestilist for being a great co-commentator. And my best friend Backer Gaming.
Yep, and Bamworks for verifying all our runs.
Yeah.
Aww. Well, thank you both again so much. And to all of you out there watching, don't forget that SGDQ 2020 Online begins August 16th. For more information on that, go to gamesdonequick.com/schedule and see what we have planned for the marathon. Tomorrow is the Hotfix Gauntlet. We'll be having a blind race in our invitational tournament. Well, multiple races. We're in the second round now, so come see who will make the winner's bracket top 4. That's 7 p.m. Eastern. Thursday is the first step. Hobbs and Keys will be digging their claws into Shovel Knight. King of Cards, 7 p.m. Eastern as well. Make sure you check that out. And if you are interested in appearing on this show or other Hotfix shows, you can head to gamesdonequick.com/hotfix and submit your games or ideas. Thank you to our lovely subscribers for making this show and other Hotfix shows possible. We certainly appreciate it. I appreciate it. And again, thank you all so much for watching. Take care of yourselves and each other. We will see you next time.